are going live. Okay, this stream is live. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Christiana Plays Ironsworn. I am Christiana Ellis, and this is not my first time playing Ironsworn, which is a tabletop RPG written by Sean Tompkin. And I have had a lot of fun playing Ironsworn. I've played it a couple of different solo sessions a few years back, and I've played also in co-op mode a couple of times, and all of those are available on YouTube, etc. But the thing is, I never really did get too much into the Delve expansion, and the truth is, my story that I built with my single player solo mode character, Chenda, just honestly stuck with me. This game is really good at making stories that stay with you. And this one really just got its hooks in me. And so I was feeling like, you know what? I want to go back to it. So let's talk a little bit about Ironsworn. First of all, let me the way that the rules work is you have your action die, which is a d6, and every time you're making a move of some kind, you roll the action die and you add a modifier to it based on different attributes, right? And you're going to get a number. And generally that number is going to be, say, somewhere between 1 and 10, because the action die itself can be from 1 to 6. Your attributes are likely going to be somewhere between +1 and +3, and then you have a couple of other ways that the things that you can add to your action die. And then the challenge die, you're rolling 2 d10s, and the goal is that your action die result will be higher than both of the challenge die. And so that would be a strong hit. If it's higher than one but lower than the other, then that's a weak hit. And if it's lower than both, it's a miss. So we can just scroll up on the log here just to see a couple of examples. So if you look down in the right-hand corner, you see this example. This is an old roll, but the action roll was a 9. And then the challenge dice came up as a 5 and an 8. So since 9 was higher than both 5 and 8, it's a strong hit. Versus this one, where you can see the action score was an 8, but the challenge dice came up with a 9 and a 7. So because it was higher than 7 but lower than 9, that's a weak hit. And then we can take a look at a miss, where the action score was a 6, but the challenge dice came up as an 8 and a 10, and so it was lower than both, and it's a miss. And so there's lots of these different moves that, depending on what it is that you're trying to do, you will get different effects. And we'll go through all of that more in a minute, because there's lots more complexity, but that's the basics of how rolls work. And often in this system, you're going to end up with weak hits that maybe get you what you want, but with a complication. And that's where I think this game really shines, is in giving you all sorts of interesting complications that deepen the story and make everything more complex. So you can see on the main part of the screen here, we've got, this is the overall Ironlands map that comes with the game. And I'm going to zoom in down here, because down here in the Ragged Coast, you see a bunch of different, relatively nearby located settlements. These are the places that were established as part of my previous solo mode campaign. And so we are going to be continuing that story, but I want this to be a jumping off point, so we're going to recap a little bit. But first of all, as part of the world building, what we do in this game is we establish the world truths. So let's revisit the world truths from my previous solo play game. It's going to be a little small, so let's maybe make that a little easier for everyone else to see. Gosh, I think it's not Wow, why is it not? Hang on, sorry, I'm just, I would like it to wrap that a little bit more. Okay, well, you know what? It might be hard for everyone else to read, but that's okay because I'm gonna read them. So there's basically all these different categories, and when you start up the game, you establish truths about the world and all of these things. And so this is a recap of what's the world like here. So the old world. The old world could no longer sustain us. We were too large in number. We had felled the forests. Our crops withered in the barren ground. The cities and villages overflowed with desperate, hungry people. Petty kings battled for scraps. We cast our fate to the sea and found the Ironlands. A new world, a fresh start. Sorry, I'm looking at my dog who's making a fuss over on the couch. And then iron. Iron is important in this game, but what does it represent in this? So the weather is bleak, rain and wind sweep in from the ocean, the winters are long and bitter. One of the first settlers complained, "Only those made of iron dare live in this foul place," and thus our land was named. Legacies. Before the Ironlanders, before even the Firstborn, which we'll talk more about, another people lived here. Their ancient ruins are found throughout the Ironlands. Communities. We live in communities called circles. These are settlements ranging in size from a standing with a few families to a village of several hundred. Some circles belong to nomadic folk. Some powerful circles might include a cluster of settlements. We trade and sometimes feud with other circles. Now that's what all of these little areas are here on the map. Those are different circles. Leaders. Leadership is as varied as the people. Some communities are governed by the head of a powerful family, or they have a council of elders who make decisions and settle disputes. In others, the priests hold sway. For some, it is duels in the circle that decide. There's a terminology overlap there because we're calling the communities circles, but then there's also a formal duel procedure where you draw the circle and becomes kind of like a dual fighting ring. Defense. Here in the Ironlands, supplies are too precious and the lands are too sparsely populated to support organized fighting forces. When a community is threatened, the people stand together to protect their own. Mysticism. Some still find comfort in the old ways. They call on mystics to divine the fortune of their newborn, or ask them to perform rituals to invoke a bountiful harvest. Others act out of fear against those who they suspect of having power. However, most folk believe true magic, if it ever existed, is lost to us now, which is interesting, as we'll talk a little bit more about when we recap the story. Religion. A few Ironlanders still make signs or mumble prayers out of habit or tradition, but most believe the gods long ago abandoned us. Firstborn. The Firstborn, which is like elves and giants and stuff like that, live in isolation and are fiercely protective of their own lands. Beasts. Beasts of all sorts roam the Ironlands. They dwell primarily in the reaches, but range into the settled lands to hunt. There they often prey on cattle, but attacks on travelers, caravans, or even settlements are not uncommon. And horrors. We are wary of dark forests and deep waterways, for monsters lurk in those places. In the depths of the long night, when all is wreathed in darkness, only fools venture beyond their homes. And so, that is the world in which our story takes place. My dog is excited to make noise and a fuss right when I'm streaming, but that's fine. So what happened on our previous sessions? Well, I'm not going to read all of this, but you can see that I have this solo play adventure journal where I'm basically keeping track of the story as it progresses. And so today, as I play, I'll be updating this. But let me give you the high-level recap. My character is named Chenda, and she is originally from Whitefall, and she is skilled with both a sword and an herbalist's kit, but her primary strength is that she believes in people and connects with people. she made her first vow to her mother. Her mother was so heartbroken at having to leave the old world behind and was so fearful that the new Ironlanders didn't learn the lessons of the old world and were just going to repeat all the same failures here. And so the first vow that Chenda made was to her mother, and she swore this on her iron sword, that she would learn the ways of the firstborn, to see what other ways of living there might be, in the hopes that a better way can be found, and to not repeat the mistakes of the old world. And so, as part of her long-term journey, she set out and went first to the town of Greyhope. And Greyhope had been feuding with another place called Grimland. And those two larger circles had their feud, as mentioned. But one of the things that Greyhope was also struggling with was some kind of a sickness that left disfiguring scars. And so I had encountered a woman named Katya, who was kind of like a scout and a diplomat. And my first sort of quest was to escort her to Grimland and ideally try to complete negotiations to settle this feud between Grimland and Greyhope. A lot of things went wrong. We discovered that there were actually some ample supplies of useful medicinal herbs that we were hoping would help to cure this disease that seems to be spreading, but we were also getting some indications that this disease was not natural in some way. There was something unusual happening. And Katya, for example, had recovered from it, but was occasionally finding that she had inhuman strength from time to time, and it was not entirely within her control. But we journeyed across. We encountered a couple of smaller communities in Elfbrook and Froststead. But what we discovered upon arriving at Grimland is that it was entirely deserted except for one guy. And what he told us is the elves living across this border here in the deep wilds told the citizens of Grimland that they had to leave, but we weren't gonna leave. And so this guy, who's a miner, had been off in the mountains on an expedition. When he came back, everyone was gone. And we assumed, well, I guess maybe the elves did something. Maybe they killed them, but there's no bodies. Maybe they took them. What happened? And so we were confused, but a little dismayed. So we traveled back to Froststead and discovered, oh my gosh, they've received a similar warning. We can't let what happened in Grimland happen to Froststead, so we persuaded everyone from Froststead to come with us to Elfbrook in the hopes of settling everybody there. Only what happened then is in Elfbrook, we discovered that the sickness had followed us there, and worse, we discovered that this sickness was definitely tied to someone doing dark, corrupted magic and was raising an army of the undead. And that's what had happened to all of the people of Grimland. And we found that out because they're here. And they invaded the town of Elfbrook, and everyone there was overrun. Chenda was forced to flee, and she was separated from Katya, who she had become very close to, and was forced to run away, lost basically all of her allies. And the only really lead that she had was that a woman she had met in Elfbrook had previously asked about a book that was all about raising the undead that was hidden somewhere in Grimland. Now, we didn't trust this woman named Abella, so we decided not to get the book for her. But now, given everything we've seen, we think maybe we ought to see what's in that book. So that's kind of where we're picking things up. But before we jump right into the adventure, let's look at the character sheet. Now, this character sheet has been updated quite a bit since my original sessions of playing solo mode, and so there's a lot of things in here that make things very smooth compared to how everything was before. The integration here with Roll20, which is where I'm playing, is very nice. And so I will occasionally be looking things up in my PDF copies of the game and the Delve expansion, but a lot of stuff is now on here, and I don't have to flip through different pages to get to all these different oracles. So let's talk just briefly about what we've got on this character sheet here, and then we'll get our story started. So these numbers up at the top right here, these big ones, are the primary character attributes. And so edge is kind of like, you could imagine it a bit like dexterity. It's used for ranged attacks and also sort of just precision maneuvering and that sort of thing. Heart is kind of like charisma, but it's also resilience and just the ability to bounce back from stressful situations and that sort of thing. Iron is pretty much like physical strength and skill in battle. Shadow is like sneakiness, and also typically, because magic is not super common or well practiced here, shadow tends to be the trait that would apply to anything you would do that's related to magic as well. It's the dark side, so to speak. And then wits, intelligence, perception, that sort of thing. So those are those primary attributes. But we've also got a number of things up here at the top, and so don't get overwhelmed by how much you're seeing on the sheet here at first. It's simpler than you might think. So at the first top, we've got our name. Chenda is our character's name. Our health is currently at +4, and that's out of 5. Spirit is currently at +2, which is out of 5 also, and supply at +3 out of 5. And experience we'll talk about when and if the time comes. You get experience by swearing iron vows and then fulfilling them. So then we've got this momentum tracker, and that plays into how the rolls work. So let's say if I have +4 momentum currently, and I made a roll where one of the challenge dice was a 4 or lower, I could burn this momentum to cancel that die and maybe make my result higher. And so one thing that I definitely found in my previous sessions is it's very important to try to keep some degree of momentum, because you get a lot of weak hits just by default in this system. And so what you need is that momentum in order to help you turn those weak hits into strong hits when it really counts. So it's important to occasionally be doing things to try to keep your momentum going. And so that's kind of what we've got at the top. The rest of these are things that just go to different areas to keep track of other various things that happen. So assets is something here where when you form your character, it's a little bit like picking class options. And so what is Chenda good at? Well, as I mentioned, she's an herbalist. And so one of the things that she has right now is that she is capable of having a little bit more skill when she tries to heal herself or someone. And then she's also good at the sword. So there's, she can do, has some bonuses relating to sword combat. And then path, bonded, when you make a move where you would gain a bonus for having a bond with someone, you get an extra bonus. So that's what those assets are for. And then summary, which we'll talk a little bit more about here too. But then moves, this is literally just a bunch of references. And so if, for example, you want to remember how the face danger move works, you can click this and it has now all of the information about how the face danger move works, and you can do the roll from here, which is very handy. And in fact, it even has, so then, so you've got a lot of those handy little references. You can click rolls for them from here. And then oracles are things that aid solo play for these sorts of tabletop role-playing games. So if, for example, I'm coming across a new area, this game doesn't have a GM to say what is this place, but what I can do is I can do a couple of rolls about a natural feature, and let's say, we do an aspect roll and a focus roll, and let's see. Actually, that focus is so that's. Sorry, I'm in the. Let's switch here. Those the location and descriptor are better tables for what I kind of had in mind there. But so you can roll those. So location, like you can see, there's a whole bunch of different things here, and on a D100 table, percentile dice. Then a descriptor is going to also have those. But so when I rolled for location, it was a mine, and then a strange mine. So it's like, oh, strange mine. And then we start figuring out, like, oh, gosh, what's strange about it? What kind of mine is it? And that sort of thing. And it's just tools for helping to develop the world since I'm playing solo. All right. Ooh, swallowed too much. All right. And so let's talk a little bit more here about what the rest of this is. These are vows. And so my first vow here, learn the ways of the firstborn, and I swore that on my Ironsworn. And this is an epic vow, and so that means I'm only periodically going to make any progress on that at all. That would be like a campaign length type of quest, as opposed to one that would be carried out in a session or two. And so then I also have next, save Katya and rid the land of this curse. And this is a modified vow, because I had made a couple of previous vows that were related to escort Katya to this other town and try to negotiate that and that sort of thing. But sometimes in this game, when you try to do the thing, it turns out you can't anymore. So I was not able to negotiate a treaty with the town of Rimland because all of the people had been turned into zombies. So gradually the quest gets modified, but when you do that, it upgrades itself. And so formidable means this is a pretty tough quest to undertake, but we'll do our best. So that's what we've got at the moment here. And when you make progress on a vow, you fill out little boxes like this. And then when you want to try to complete the vow, you make a roll based on how many boxes you have full. And you'll see how we make some of those. And then, of course, some of the other things up here are bonds. And you know what? Bonds is something when you make connections with different characters, and that can give you bonuses in certain situations. Progress is a bar that you add when you're trying to accomplish something specific or in a fight, for example. And so all of that will come up. But now that we've kind of covered the basics of how the game works, let's jump in and continue the story. So, when we last left our hero Chenda, all seemed lost. Not only did we discover, to our horror, that the missing people of Grimland were not, in fact, taken by the elves, and this mysterious disease that we had seen plaguing various villages was not, in fact, some ordinary illness, but instead someone, for dark purposes, is using magic to turn people into the undead. And occasionally, when treated, these people can avoid becoming undead, but are nonetheless tainted by this magic. And we believe that's what's happened to Katya. But the town where we were trying to figure all of this out was overrun by zombies. We were forced to flee. We were separated from Katya and everyone else, and it's disaster. And so we're in a tight spot. So the first thing that I think we're going to have Chenda do is to try to hang on, I'm pulling up various PDFs here to as quick references. So I think the first thing we need to do is we need to be able to avoid panicking. We need to find a place that we can try to get somewhere safe and try to get our stuff together a little bit. So I think what we're going to do first is we're going to face danger, because we have fled the town that was overrun, but it was in the middle of a moor. There's not a lot of hiding places or anything right now, and we don't know how many they are or where they're coming from or what else there might be. And so we're going to face danger in order to try to sneak away and get to somewhere marginally safer. So we can look at our move here, and it specifically asks you to say, well, how are you approaching this move? Are you approaching it with speed, agility, or precision? If so, then you would roll with plus edge. And if you're approaching it with charm, loyalty, or courage, you roll plus heart. And that's my best stat. If you're doing aggressive action, forceful defense, or strength, or endurance, roll plus iron. And deception, stealth, or trickery, then roll plus shadow. With expertise, insight, or observation, roll plus wits. And so I think because it is Chenda's MO, she is really just trying to avoid giving into despair. She is forging ahead and not panicking. She's trying to hold her head together, to not let herself collapse into despair, and she is going to just basically forge out until, keep going until it seems like we've got room to breathe. And so we're going to roll plus heart. So we go back to our summary here. Well, actually, let's see. I can click here, and I choose heart. And I don't have any special modifier right now. So this would be if, for example, there were circumstances that would give me an additional +1 to this roll. But in this case, there's not. So, oh look, they've actually changed the interface even since the last time we were doing these rolls. So looks like, what do we got here? Our action score is a 5. The challenge dice came up as a 1 and an 8. So we're higher than 1, but lower than the other, and it's a weak hit. And the 8 is too high for us to burn through momentum. And so we're basically stuck with that weak hit. So what does that happen on a weak hit? We can look here. It says, we succeed, but face a troublesome cost. Choose one. You are delayed, lose advantage, or face a new danger. Suffer -1 momentum. Or you are tired or hurt, endure harm. You are dispirited or afraid, endure stress. Or you sacrifice resources, suffer -1 supply. And so I think right now I kind of have the most health to spare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to endure harm. And the way that works here is that I'm going to automatically just go ahead and take the harm, and it's just 1 unless it specifies otherwise. Like if, for example, I was fighting something that does 3 harm, then if it were to hurt me, I would take 3 off. But in this case, it doesn't specify any number, so it's just the 1. All right, I'm going to see if I can turn off my air conditioner's fan here. Oh. All right, well, actually, okay, let's turn that off. Yeah, all right. So, I think, so endure harm is a move. And so now that we have, we've decided we're enduring harm, we're gonna, when you face physical damage, you suffer minus health equal to the foe's rank, or as appropriate to the situation in this case. And then there would be circumstances if I was already at 0, say. But then I'm going to roll either plus health or plus iron, whichever is higher. And so right now, my health is still 3, and my iron is 2. So I'm still going to roll health. Rocket, no. Still got a little dog who likes to chew on everything. Occasionally have to distract him. So so I'm going to roll health plus health or plus iron. I'm going to do that now. The interface here is a little bit strange. Oh, there we go. So here it is. I can click here. So I'm rolling a health, which is going to be plus 3, which means it'll roll the d6 and then add 3 to it. And no special modifier here. So the action score is a 5. The challenge dice were a 9 and a 2. And so once again, that's a weak hit. And so in this context, a weak hit means nothing else happens. No change related to, no other things change. I just take the damage. But what we can imagine here is that as Chenda is fleeing into the night, perhaps we do briefly encounter a patrol of these strange grasping zombies, and they take a swipe at her and manage to knock her for a loop briefly, but she's nonetheless able to escape into the night. And so now that we have faced danger, we got a weak hit, which means we succeeded in our goal to find, to get away from where that was happening, find somewhere safe. And so now I think we're going to try to make camp and recenter ourselves. And so we've got a make camp move here. So when you rest and recover for several hours in the wild, you roll plus supply. Now supply is kind of just an abstracted value to indicate the state of all your gear, like what you have and what you need, rations and rope and all these ordinary sorts of adventuring tools that you can kind of just abstract as this number. So my supply is currently 3, so I'm going to go ahead and roll that. Rolling supply. And once again, a weak hit. You get a lot of weak hits in this system, and that's why you want to try to build momentum so that you can occasionally start canceling some of those and make them a little better. So in this case, with a weak hit, when you make camp, you choose one of these things. So you can recuperate and get a +1 health. You can partake, which is you suffer a -1 supply and take another +1 health. You can relax, take +1 spirit. My spirit is pretty low. You can focus, take +1 momentum. And then prepare, you can add +1 when you undertake a journey. So now Chenda has made a camp, but it leaves some things to be desired. It's very stressful. What is the best thing to help us right now? Well, our spirit is pretty low based on everything that has happened. It's pretty awful. We could use some more momentum, but the spirit is low enough that I think what the focus on this particular rest period is going to be on trying to relax, focus. Not focus, because that's a different choice here, but to relax and try to not let the stress of the situation become too overwhelming. And I think that Chenda thinks back about her determination, her promise that she made to Katya, and the promise that even separated, even under these dire circumstances, we're going to save her or die trying. And that is part of what her mother would have wanted her to do, I think. And so we're going to go ahead and increase our spirit by 1. And we're getting some rest in the fiction. And so this is where we can, but in the morning, I think Chenda is pretty determined. We got to find that book. That book seems to be perhaps the start of all of this. Maybe we can find something about it. So we're going to be undertaking a journey. Now, the journey from just outside of Elfbrook to Grimland is not very far, and it's a journey that Chenda has made already. So this would not be a journey that would be too terribly difficult. And in fact, if there weren't worries about zombies everywhere, I think we would probably not even make it a whole progress bar. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a progress bar now because it's a little bit more dangerous than it would have been previously. But we're still only making it a troublesome progress. So this is Journey to Rimland. And the way troublesome works is that every time we mark progress on our journey, we're going to fill 3 of these boxes out of 10 total. And then once we are ready to kind of arrive, we'll do a roll, called Arrive at Your Destination, based on how many of these progress bars we've got filled. And so you'll see how it goes. But undertake a journey is the move now. Now that we've rested a little bit, we've recentered ourselves, we've rallied our spirits a bit. So now let's undertake like a journey. Where is this? Undertake a journey right here. So we're traveling across hazardous or unfamiliar lands, and so this is a troublesome journey, and we're rolling plus wits for each segment of the journey, and we roll. Okay, and look, we got only a 5 for the action score, but the challenge dice were a 2 and a 4, which means we actually got a strong hit. Hooray! That's great. It's a relief to have something go well for at least once. And so now we're going to fill 3 of these boxes because we made progress on our journey. And so with a strong hit on a journey, you reach a waypoint. The waypoint, if the waypoint is unknown to you, envision it. And in this case, we're making progress across these moors that we have seen before, but so it's not really unknown. Rocket. No. Come on. I'm sorry for the interruptions there. Rocket, no. Come. He's a sweet little dog, but he does like to chew on things. So on a strong hit, you make good use of your resources. You mark progress, which we just did. And you move at speed, which means we mark progress. So here's the choice. Either just make progress, or we mark progress and take +1 momentum at a cost of -1 supply. Yeah, you know what? I think we need some more momentum. So I'm going to, I'm going to take that now. So we -1 supply, and going to give us a little bit more momentum here. Because the more having momentum really just keeps you on your, on your front foot, so to speak. But now we have more of our journey to undertake. I think while we're at this waypoint, we are going to try to look around here a little bit and try to forage to, recover some of our lost supply here. So one of the things that we can do is resupply. When you hunt, forage, or scavenge, you roll with wits. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay. And in this case, look, action score 6 with a 3 and a 2, so we got another strong hit. Fantastic. Look at that. We bolster our resources, take +2 supply. Fantastic. Feeling pretty good about this so far. So, maybe we go ahead and, with a little bit more, recovered some of our healing herbs and got a little bit more fresh venison in the pack. Let's return to our journey. And we're rolling with wits again. Uh-oh, uh-oh. So look at this. So this is a 6, but the challenge dice are an 8 and a 9. So that means we can't do anything about it with our 5 momentum. And on a miss, you are waylaid by a perilous event. Oh no. Well, we know at least one thing that the perilous event might be, but let's use the move, pay the price. When you suffer the outcome of a move, choose one. And so you can either make the most obvious negative outcome happen, or envision 2 negative outcomes, rate one as likely, and ask the oracle using the yes or no table. On a yes, make that outcome happen, or roll on the table below. So one of the things that we could do that would be one of the most obvious things is like, oh no, what if we run into one of these zombies, right? That wouldn't be great, but we could do that and perhaps use that as an opportunity to do a little bit of combat. So I kind of like that idea. So as far as what I'm running into, there are a number of different, like enemy types that are coming in these different books. I think just in this context, though, just out in the wilderness and just something we happened across, I'm thinking this doesn't necessarily need to be something that is too dangerous. So there's actually a creature type in the book that they call a zealot, but I think is a good stand-in for our specific kinds of living but controlled zombies here. And so these are features: sickly pallor, distant eyes, marks of their faith, and I think, and they are troublesome. So what we are doing here is we're going to add another progress tracker, and zombie. And I think this is just like one of the patrolling ones that's looking around. So I've got to try to take them out. So pretty much what we're going to start with here when we're doing combat is, in a battle, you start out by, where's the combat moves? Enter the fray. When you enter into combat, and so we have a troublesome foe, so that means when it does harm to me, it'll only do 1 harm, like at a go. And if I do harm to him, I will fill 3 boxes of that progress track we just made. And so I think as I'm trying to stealthily make my way across these mist-shrouded moors, I will suddenly, out of a clump of, a clump of mist, a cloud of mist parts, and all of a sudden this hollow-eyed humanoid creature lurches out at me, moaning, "Ah!" And I'm going to enter the fray, but I am courageous, and I don't back down from threats like this, not when I believe I have my sword and the righteousness of my cause at my side, and so I'm going to face off against my foe, rolling plus heart. Alright, so I'm rolling plus heart, and no modifier. And so look, we started off with 8 against a 2 and an 8, which means it's a weak hit. So on a weak hit, when you enter the fray, you can either bolster your position by taking +2 momentum, or you can prepare to act by taking initiative. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take +2 momentum, getting me up to 7, which is starting to be pretty good for momentum. Now, what initiative means in combat in Ironsworn is a little different than in, say, Dungeons and Dragons. What you have in this game is that there are certain moves that you can do when you have initiative, and other moves that you would do when you don't have initiative. And so, for example, if it represents a little bit like who has control over the situation, right? And so in this case, I've given myself a little bit more momentum, but I'm not the one who is like pressing the attack right in the moment. And so what I think is, first of all, let me just make sure I revisit my so my Swordmaster talent says when you strike or clash and burn momentum to improve your result, you add how much harm that you do. And so that's going to be definitely handy here in a second, because when you are in combat and you don't have initiative, so strike would be like pressing an attack when I do have initiative. Clash essentially means like this is rotating hits back and forth. He's coming after me with the grasping hands, and I'm trying to fend him off with the sword, but we're going to each do harm to each other. And this is something that I do when I don't have initiative. So when your foe has initiative and you fight with them in close quarters, you roll plus iron. And so what I would like is a strong hit, which will allow me to retake initiative. So let's go ahead and roll. We're rolling with iron. Okay, so look, we got a pretty low roll on the action die here. So it was a 1 on the action plus my 2 of iron, so it's only a 3. So in the challenge dice, thankfully, we got a 1 and a 10, the lowest and the highest on those, which means it's a weak hit. So on a weak hit, which means I get a hit in, but then I have to pay the price and I still don't have initiative. And I can't burn enough momentum to cancel that 10. So I think I'm stuck with the weak hit. So what that means is I'm going to do my harm to them, which fills... so each harm represents like a progress. And so I have an iron sword which lets me do 2 harm like when I do harm. And so when I attack with my sword, I do 2 harm to it. And so on a troublesome foe, each harm counts as 3. And so I'm filling it up to 6. Now, bear in mind that that looks pretty good already, right? Except that it also represents, first of all, this is one of the easiest kinds of enemies. And if I were to try to finish the fight right now, I would really only have a 60% chance of being successful. So, it's actually not even, I'm not quite sure how that percentages work. But so I do 2 harm to it, but then I have to pay the price, right? This is a troublesome foe, so when I pay the price, I'm going to take the most obvious harm. Hang on, let me just double check that that's what it said. So, whoops. Clash. And so on a weak hit, you pay the price, and your foe has initiative. And I think the most obvious... So when we pay the price, we can say the most obvious negative outcome would be that I take harm back. And so let's go ahead and just do that for now. But other things could possibly happen, right? But so in this case, I think, I get my sword swipe in and slash him, but he also manages to clock me across the temple and sends me dizzy a little bit. So I still don't have initiative. But I'm going to, in this context, if I wanted to try to do something to like I think there are circumstances where if I wanted to try to do something to change the dynamics of the fight or something, I could do like face danger. There's secure an advantage that can also help like get me in a more favorable position, but requires initiative to do that. But in this case, I think we're locked in combat. So I'm going to go ahead and clash again. I'll make sure I'm rolling with iron. Okay, look, so we got an 8 this time against a 4 and a 7. So that's a strong hit. What that means is on a strong hit, you inflict your harm and then choose one of these 2 things and you have the initiative. So you can either take +1 momentum or find an opening and do an additional +1 harm. Excuse me. Now, in this context, for this creature, I don't really need to do an additional +1 harm. Because if you look over here, if I do my 2 harm, I'm already going to fill the box. Right? So it can't get any more than that. And so that means that, I don't get any benefit from doing an additional plus harm. So I'm going to take the additional momentum instead. But I do have initiative. And so what that allows me to do is end the fight, which is a move that you can only do when you have initiative, and you will now roll based on how many boxes you have full. Note, even though I've got 10 boxes, it does not guarantee a victory, because if one of the 2 challenge die is a 10, then I only get a weak hit. And if they were both 10s, then that would mean that it's a miss. And it's a very unlikely miss, and so probably something really bad happens. But in the meantime, though, we have 10 filled progress. So let's go ahead and roll end the fight here. All right. So we got 10 and challenge dice. Look, 9 and a 1. So that 9 is high enough. It's a good thing we had 10. But that's a strong hit, which on a strong hit, this foe is no longer in the fight. They're killed, out of action, flee, or surrender as appropriate to the situation and your intent. And in this case, I think, under the circumstances, I just put them down. Some of these, this unholy army are people who might still be able to get better. But I think in this circumstance, I don't know that yet. I need to be able to survive this and get through all of this. And so I can't take the chance of trying to leave them behind me and let them tell or something. So I double tap. I decapitate, I think, this enemy. And so what that means is that, so that's, that is the end of the fight. So recall that in this ambush, that was just a result of getting a miss on my undertake a journey. And so I still have to try to undertake a journey. But fortunately, I came out of that, a little bit, lost a little bit of health, but I gained some momentum. So I think before I continue undertaking my journey, I'm going to take a moment to sit here in the moors and make sure I'm not more hurt, and I certainly don't want to be overtaken by any kind of disease. So I think I'm going to take a moment to heal myself. And so, because I'm an herbalist, when I attempt to heal using herbal remedies, and I have at least +1 supply, which I do, I can choose to either add 2 to my action die before I roll, or if I get a hit, I can gain an additional +1 health. And so I think in this context, let me look at this. So where's my heal? There we go. So with heal, I'm rolling plus wits. And if I'm mending my own wounds, I can do wits or iron, whichever is lower. Now, because, if you're trying to do your own wounds, it's a little harder. You might be in an awkward position, but my iron and wits are the same. So it's going to be a +2 either way. And so I think in this context, I would rather be more confident that I'm going to be successful. And so I'm going to use my herbalism skill to give myself an additional +2 and do the normal result. So healing, I am rolling to try to treat my wounds before I get back on the journey, and I add a +2 to the modifier. Whoo, boy, one of those challenge dice is a 10, so I still only got a weak hit. But thank goodness I had added my +2, because if I hadn't, I would have got a miss. And so on a miss, my aid would have been ineffective and I'd have to pay the price. But I got a weak hit, so it's, not as good as it could have been. So my care is helpful. I can gain up to +2 health, But with a weak hit, I have to suffer -1 supply or -1 momentum, my choice. And so my momentum is pretty high right now, so I can get that down to 7 instead of 8. And I'm going to get my health back up to 4, which feels a lot better. Whew. Okay, so healed a little bit, centered myself, confirmed to myself that these zombies can be destroyed, they can be defeated. Now, that was just one, so there's a long way to go. But I am capable of some things, and I don't screw up everything I do, which is certainly how I felt at the end of the last session. So let's continue our journey, because if you recall, first of all, I can take this zombie progress bar off because I defeated him. But now I've got more of this journey to Rimland. So I was headed from Elfbrook to Rimland, so I would be somewhere in between these two little spots right there. So let's continue our journey. And I'm rolling with wits. Okay, look at that. So with a 7 against a 5 and a 3, that's a strong hit. And so once again, I am going to, I've got some good supply, so I am going to go ahead and deplete 1 supply and give myself another +1 momentum, and I make progress on the journey. So we've got 6 out of 10 on our progress marker now. Now, the extra 4 would be so I guess my point is I could try to say that's enough. I want to try to go ahead and complete this journey and not make additional moves first. But it's a little riskier when it's up to 6, because if either of the challenge die is 6 or higher, then I could still get a weak hit or even worse. So I think probably we want to go ahead and make another undertake a journey move to get more progress, get maybe that 9 out of 10 before we move that forward. So continuing, pressing forward across these moors. I think probably maybe the sun has come up now, started to burn the mist away, and hopefully I'm feeling a little bit more confident about this whole journey. All right, so we're undertake a journey again. All right, so in this case, we got another 10 on the challenge die, so that's a weak hit again. So we got an 8 against a 10 and a 4. So on a weak hit for undertake a journey, you mark progress, but suffer -1 supply. So I'm going to take my supply down to 2, but I am going to mark progress. All right, so now I'm at 9 out of 10 there, but my supply is a little bit lower, so maybe I'll try to resupply before I complete the journey. So I'm going to do a little bit more scavenging, try to look for anything that might have been cast off by these zombie villagers, or just any other game that might have been left behind. Or, just some edible plants, perhaps now abandoned fields that might have some crops. Let's see what we got. Okay, so this is a good example. This is one of the first times I got a 5 against a 6 and a 3. But because I have 8 momentum, I could cancel the 3, or excuse me, I could cancel the 6. It's making this a weak hit and make it a strong hit instead. And so, you know what? I think in this case, if I were to take a weak hit, I would suffer 1 momentum for every bit of supply I want. But if I were to burn my momentum, it would take my +8 down to +2. So in this context, in this specific one, this is not one where it would be to my advantage to burn momentum instead of just taking the weak hit. So I'm going to take the weak hit. I'm going to take +2 supply to get myself back up to +4, but it costs me 2 momentum to do that. See? Pretty straightforward. But now I'm at 9 out of 10 on my journey. So let's try reaching my destination. This is a progress move, and so I'm rolling against the 9 progress that I've gotten. Now, I'll note that in some of my previous sessions, I ran into trouble with this. Even 9 sometimes isn't enough, because if either of these challenge dice come up as a 9 or a 10, then I could still fail. But let's see. So filled progress is 9. Okay, so look, the challenge dice were an 8 and a 9, which means I only got a weak hit. So on a weak hit, I arrive but face an unforeseen hazard or complication. Envision what you find. So I have arrived at Rimland, and I can remove that progress tracker. But something is a problem now that I'm here. There's something that makes this difficult. And we know some of what that might be. Could be more of these zombies, right? But it could be something else. So let's see. What would be a good... I'm looking at some of these sorts of things that could be a problem. I think so. Action and theme are often, you can do a couple, one of each of those, and that can sometimes give you a good a hint, like something that leads towards maybe what this problem is. So let's try doing an action and a theme. All right, so we got for theme, deception, and then 55, coordinate. Coordinate deception. Give me just one moment. I'm stepping away just to turn on the lights and close my blinds. Now, one of the things, too, when we're rolling for stuff like this, is it's only for inspiration. So I'm feeling like, under the circumstances, I don't know if coordinate deception feels like a useful idea here. So maybe let's try another one of each of these. All right, so this time we got preserve dream. I've had good luck with these in the past, but I'm really struggling right now. Maybe the problem here is I'm ignoring the fiction that leads us to a more obvious conclusion, right? Which is that this town is no longer completely abandoned. Well, it's maybe... Now, let's think about this. We can figure out something great here. So, when I was last in Rimland, it was abandoned, except for just this one guy who had returned to find it empty. And we know that all of those people were in this army of zombies that went south. So it doesn't really make sense that there would be a ton of them here now. But there could be something else. We just had a fight, so maybe we don't necessarily need to have just another monster attack. Maybe. Let's think. Settlement trouble. Yeah, you know what? Let's. You know what it could be? This is fun. Okay, what it could be, recall that part of what our original thought about the missing people of Grimland was that the elves, the firstborn, had come and warned them away, and we thought it was just because they were too close to firstborn lands. But maybe they knew something else. And so we had theorized that they had previously sent a basilisk to spy after the fact, and we killed that basilisk. So maybe there's a firstborn patrol. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let's update the adventure journal so that we don't lose track of the things that have happened here. So I'm gonna update this. So now down here at the bottom, I'm putting all of this in first person. So I fled the overrun town into the misty moors. I ran into a few of the zombies, the strange zombies, and took a couple of clumsy hits before finding my way to safety. Once I made camp, I was able to calm myself a bit and focus on my new objective. I needed to track down the book about necromancy that Abella had asked me to find, which should be somewhere hidden in Grimland. Aside from a brief but victorious encounter with a zombie en route, the journey to Grimland went well, but when I arrived, a firstborn patrol was in the town examining the ruins. All right. So, here's where something is kind of exciting here, because recall, my character's epic quest is to learn the ways of the firstborn. And so, although the firstborn are not necessarily friendly, and it means that it's not optimal necessarily to encounter them, perhaps this is an opportunity to try to meet them and learn a bit about their ways, and I can hopefully get some information from them and everything, and maybe some of this can be helpful. So let's create an elf NPC to represent this party that I'm going to try to approach. So we've got a table of elf names. Can roll on here. We've got an elf named Ereshki, and we've got some character descriptions and like dispositions. So let's, and I think the goal we know is they're investigating to see what happened to the people there, perhaps. But let's get a descriptor and a disposition of our elf leader of this patrol. Greedy and threatening. Gosh, well, that's not a promising start, is it? Okay, let's make a quick update. We've got a people and places. Okay, let's add Ereshki, the greedy, threatening elf. Firstborn elf who is greedy and threatening, met on patrol at Grimland. Okay, so my hope was to try to gain some information from them and to make a connection there. So let's look at what we're doing here. So we've got compel, which is persuade someone to do something. That could be it. But gather information is also a different move. Gather information would be if you're searching an area, asking questions, conducting an investigation. I think what I would need to do is connect on a level with the individuals there before I can just start investigating. That would maybe be once I can connect with them. But I think as I come out and make myself known in this town, it would seem that this elf patrol that is perhaps actually, looting some of the supplies and tools and stuff left behind, taking things maybe, is like, gosh, what do the firstborn want? Like, if a greedy elf, like, what does the elf want? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out more. But I think immediately, probably, I find myself surrounded by spear wielding elves. But I'm going to attempt in my compel. I'm trying to charm, pacify, barter, or convince, and so I'm rolling +1 heart, or rolling plus heart to try to persuade them that I mean no harm, that they don't need to be afraid of me, or ideally that they won't, hurt me or do anything else. So let's try that. Rolling heart. Okay, look at that. So the challenge dice were only a 2 and a 1, and so I got a 6 with the action score, which means that's a strong hit. On a strong hit, they'll do what you want or share what they know. Take +1 momentum. And then if you use this exchange to gather information, make that move now and add +1, which is definitely what I want to do. So I think perhaps as they are all surrounding me, I just kind of put up my hands and I make some kind of a crack and just say, well, gosh, I'm sure glad to see you all. At least someone's going to have things under control. And I just give them a winning smile that at the very least, I think, maybe they don't just lower all their weapons, but it seems to lower the tension down just a little. And so now I would like to try to gather information, find out, like, what are you doing here? What do you know about this situation? And so when I'm doing that, I'm going to roll plus wits. I'm not in a community or with a person that I have a bond with yet because, this community is a bunch of zombies down south, and these elves I certainly don't have a bond with yet, but I have my +1 forward from before. So I'm rolling rolling wits, and then I'm adding my 1. Okay, so that's a 9, but it's against a 9 and a 1, so it's a weak hit. On a weak hit, the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. So I envision what I discover, ask the oracle if unsure, and take +1 momentum. So I get a +1 momentum, which is good. Let's ask the oracle what the new danger is, like I need it anymore, right? But so we've got some oracles for character goals. Let's see let's roll a character goal for this patrol. 87. Prove worthiness. Okay. So I persuaded them to at least not see me as an immediate threat that must be dispatched. But maybe they are not persuaded yet that they should tell me anything else, or or that I should be just allowed to go unless I can kind of prove myself to them in some way. Gosh, that's interesting. And I think maybe what I would need to tell them is, I am here. What would prove my worthiness to them? I know that like my thinking was that I would come here and that I was going to use the delve rules to have there be a site, and that finding this book would be in there. So maybe I will try to prove my worthiness to them by explaining that I seek to right a great wrong in this land. There is an unholy magic that is corrupting life as we know it, and my goal is to put an end to that. And I'm going to try to basically just prove my worthiness just by straight up just saying, I am on a noble quest. I am here to do good, and I hope that that will show that I am worthy. And so I'm going to use a compel roll to try to persuade them that I'm worthy on that basis. So that's going to be a plus heart. Okay. All right. Look, I got a 6 against a 1 and a 4, so that's a strong hit. Okay, so that's good. All right. So I think they respect that, and I think it makes sense that the elves would respect the idea of wanting to defeat unnatural magics and that sort of thing, especially since my theory is that the reason they told people to leave Grimland was actually not because they were settled too close to elf lands. Maybe they didn't like that either, but that it was because they saw some of this coming. And so I think that I'm going to tell them I believe that the key to all of this is here in the town. And as a part of, so you know what? Let's have this. Let's use our same gather information week hit. In addition to proving worthiness, what they tell me is, oh, such a thing would probably be in that place, and that's going to be where it's a little dangerous to get. Okay, so they're going to tell me about this site, and so now we're going to develop this site, which is going to be a delve site to use the delve expansion rules. So I think there's a bunch of different themes and domains for a site like this. I had already decided that just based on the context that the theme corrupted is for ancient evil magics are doing it. But as far as what kind of a location it is, there's a bunch of choices as we can see here. Now some of those might make more sense geographically in this area, but we could also potentially, let's do an oracle roll between, let's see, in this area, I think a barrow, or maybe, let's see, I think a shadow fen, a primeval marsh. Yeah, I think a barrow or a shadow fen are the ones that maybe make the most sense in this location. So let's just do a roll, an oracle roll where it's just a 1d, it's a 1d100, and if it's, I think the barrow would be the more likely. So if the result is 26 or higher, then it'll be a barrow, and if not, if it's lower, it'll be a shadowfen. Whew, okay, it's a 6. So that means shadowfen then. All right, so they tell me then that there is a an unholy place, that if there was going to be something that was the source of this magic, they would expect it to be there. So let's look at some site names. Let's roll some of these to try to name this place. So first of all, we can get the roll for the names, the format. So this is going to be place of description detail. All right, so we would, for place, we know it's going to be a shadowfen, right? So it'll be shadowfen of, and then description in detail. So description, fallen shadow. Okay, the shadowfen of fallen shadow. All right, sure. And then they probably explained that, like, in firstborn language, it doesn't sound redundant like that. Shadowfen of fallen shadow. Recover the discover. Let's say I was looking for the book, but let's just go ahead and say discover the source of the fell magic. All right, and it's a corrupted shadowfen. All right, so now as far as identifying these details, I think we're going to make it a dangerous one, which is like the second most deadly. Now, for denizens, there's a few different things that we can do here. I think what we are going to start with is identify a couple of different things that we think it's possible might be there. And then we're going to leave some blanks that will help us to have some surprises in there too. So looking at the PDFs, some of the things we could have, for example, let's get some animals perhaps in there. So a shadowfen is a primeval marsh. So let's think what sorts of creatures might be in there. So I'm looking at what some of the let's see. There's a how about this? There's things. There's warm-blooded reptilian animals that are dangerous called trogs. Let's make. Let's see. Those are dangerous though, so let's make them a little bit less common. You know, maybe we'll put them in one of just these common things here. Trog. I'm looking at some of the other options here. Oh, you know what we can also do? I just remembered that there's a method here of just divining new creatures. So let's look at some of these. So we can say we need some troublesome creatures to be a little bit, you know, easier. So we can create size, primary form, characteristics, and abilities. But we can decide that they're going to be troublesome things, right? So we could do 2, 3, 4. So with this, we've just identified that we're going to have a medium, aka person-sized snake with a multi-segmented body and a powerful bite. Okay, yeah, that's scary. So let's say we've got, those are going to be troublesome. let's make those segmented snakes. And then let's do one more of those. Like, doing that same sort of monstrosity. All right, and so with that one, we've got another medium spiders with a tail that shoots projectiles. Gosh. What does that mean? I guess we'll find out if we encounter them, right? So let's actually take Trog and put that at uncommon because it's more dangerous. Oh, you know what? A spider with a tail. I mean, that's like a scorpion, right? Is scorpion one of the other options on that one? Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, no, you know what? I'm going to say that is a scorpion. We just don't, in our land, we don't know the name for them. So that's a tail spider. And then we can probably have zombies going to be in there too. It makes sense in this context. And then I think there's also something called a bone walker that's more dangerous. And those might be in there too. So let's go ahead and leave it at there for now. And then if we roll some random ones that come up with a blank, we'll come up with a new thing to be there. Okay, so now I've identified and I've discussed with the elves what my mission is, and they seem to be persuaded that this is a worthy, holy mission. They probably are going to tell me that we're not going in there, but I would like to, before I embark in there, I would like to try to ask if I can spend a little bit of time with them to just try to, look to say, can you help me in this? I would like to know more about you. I would like to learn more from you. And so I would like to connect with you. And so I think I'm going to try this sojourn move here, which is when you spend time in a community seeking assistance. And you roll plus heart. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And look, I got a 6 against a 4 and a 2, so that's a strong hit. So on a strong hit, you and your allies may choose 2 from the categories below. So, okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm reading some of that. So what we've got is, clear a condition. I don't have a condition right now that needs to be cleared, fortunately. So I can choose 2 from recuperate, which would give me plus 2 health. Consort, which would take plus 2 spirit. Provision, which would be plus 2 supply, and plan plus 2 momentum. You know what? I think in this context, I'm going to take plus 2 spirit and plus 2 momentum. Go ahead and give me the max. And so I think in this context, I have spent some time with them, and I believe that this will count as making progress on my main quest. Now, because this is an epic one, you'll notice before on some of these, when I fill the progress box, it's with 4 marks here to make a little pound sign. But with an epic one, when you make progress, you'll only add 1 mark. So instead of just a dash, it's a plus now. But it's still progress on that because I've now made contact with some firstborns, and I wonder, do I dare trying to forge a bond with these elves now that I've made this connection with them? When I spend a significant time with the person or community, you know what? Spend significant time, stand together, face hardships, or sacrifice for their cause. I think it's too soon for that, right? That's not, we're not there yet. Like, they tolerated my presence for a little bit. But, so now I think I'm going to undertake my journey full of momentum, spiritually recharged. I've reminded myself that my mission is righteous, so let's get this going. And once again, I tell my air conditioner it is fine in here. I don't need it to be turning on. All right, so what that means now, in Delve, there's Discover a Site. When you resolve to enter a perilous site in pursuit of an objective, you choose the theme and domain, which we kind of already did. So we have done this. We've done this site, this move already. So the next move is Delve the Depths. When you traverse an area within a perilous site, envision your surroundings and then continue your approach. And so this is a shadow fen, which is like a corrupted marsh. And so I would imagine that at least maybe as it starts, it's a bit like the dead marshes in the Two Towers, where it's just swamps, but it just feels ugly and toxic. It smells bad, and it's sticky mud to kind of trudge through, and it's probably kind of cold and feels like shadows move, and you hear whispers a little bit here and there when you're not looking. But and so I can either navigate the area with haste. No, I don't think so. With stealth or trickery, which would be shadow, or with observation, intuition, or expertise. I feel like that's what I would be doing. So I'm going to roll with plus wits. All right. Okay, so we got we got an 8, but the challenge dice are a 9 or a 7, which would give me a weak hit. But because I have so much momentum, I could burn that momentum and turn it into a strong hit. So let's look at what the difference between the strong hit and the weak hit would be in this context. On a strong hit, you delve deeper. You mark progress on the delve, and then find an opportunity. On a weak hit, you would roll on the following table, and so there would be chance to mark some progress and maybe do some various things. You know what? Let's let's go ahead and burn that momentum and keep that strong hit and just get off on a good foot to start with here. So we're going to burn momentum, and what happens when you burn momentum is it means it cancels out that 9 and the 7, makes it a strong hit, but my momentum will go back down to my reset. So I'm burning, takes it down to 2. So I'll definitely want to be building that back up again, but the benefit is that I will now, we make progress and we find an opportunity. So first of all, here's our progress tracker, right? And because it's dangerous rather than troublesome, when I make progress, I only fill up 2 boxes rather than 3. Right? But so I've made progress, and now there's a move for find an opportunity. Find an opportunity. So when I've found an opportunity, we're going to roll on the oracle table here. And then choose 1. So I can gain plus 1 momentum, or if based on the opportunity, I might want to take an action now, and we'll see what happens. So the oracle tells us that an aspect of the history or nature of this place is revealed. All right. You know what I'm going to do? I need to... So if I make a move right away, which directly leverages this opportunity, I can add plus 1 and then take a plus 1 momentum on a hit. So it potentially lets me get additional stuff and then also get the plus 1 momentum, but only, it's a risk, right? Because I might not fail the roll, or rather. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to parlay this into a gather information roll and kind of double up. But so an aspect of the history or nature of this place is revealed. So what I make good progress into these swamps to begin with. And, maybe what is the history or nature of this place? Well, those are things that we could ask the oracle about. We know some of the things that, what it might be, because we believe it's the source of this arcane magic. But let's find out if there's some wrinkle to it that we don't already know. So let's look at the oracles. And let's see, there's aspect. Yeah, let's do an aspect and a focus to give us maybe something to guide our what the mystery revealed is. Abandoned craft. Okay. So maybe what that is that people tried to build something here, but but what we find is the abandoned progress of it. And so part of the history of this place is that there was an attempt to do something, but it's abandoned now. So what do we think that it might have been? It could be, well, let's see, we've got some details here. Those are descriptions. I'm just looking at what some of these other options here are. I think that what we discover is that there was an attempt to build, because in a marsh, I'm trying to think, what would people want to build in a marsh? Oh, of course, it doesn't even have to be people either, right? It could be someone else. Like, what we established is one of our world truths is that even before the firstborn, there was others there. So maybe it's some kind of a ruin related to that. Like maybe there's a monument of some kind. Yeah, okay, I like that. Could be an abandoned craft, right? So let's say we find some strange monument, standing in the marsh that looks like it's made of stone that couldn't have come from anywhere around here, and it's intricately carved but now worn and cracked. That's cool. Okay, and so I want to gather information related to that. So I'm going to do the gather information move, but I get a +1 because of my strong hit or because of my find the opportunity. And if I get a hit, then I also get a +1 momentum. So let's gather information. Wits and +1. Oh no, okay. So that's I got a 4, which is the lowest I could get on that against an 8 and a 9. So that's a miss on that gather information. So on a miss, your investigation, see, one of the things that's nice about this is that the system is what you call fail forward, meaning gathering information. A miss does not just mean, oh, well, I didn't get any information. What it means is I get information and it's bad information. Not like wrong, but like in my investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines your quest. Yikes. Wow, okay. Okay, Gosh, that's definitely more dire than I was expecting. And then I'm going to have to pay the price. So let's roll the oracle for pay the price, and based on what it is, let's try to based on what it is, we'll decide what the truth I learn is. Okay, so it is harmful. Okay, so it is harmful, like maybe. Okay, here's what happens. I find this ancient monument and I go to investigate more about it, and I find that even just touching this thing just like sends me shooting backwards with a blinding pain in my skull. And I'm going to have to endure harm. I'm going to take my health down to 3 from 4, and I'm going to endure harm. And so what I'm learning here is that this place might be connected to some of these ancient ruins that clearly don't want me to be here. Okay, so I'm taking physical damage. I'm going to be rolling health because it's higher than my iron. No special modifier. Oh no. Okay, and then I got a miss too. Yeah, so this is going badly all of a sudden. Okay, so on endure harm with a miss, I also suffer -1 momentum. So now I'm only at +1 and not even 2. And I'm not at 0, so I don't have to do anything else. But I just lost momentum. And so let's take a moment here to update the journal. Let's see. Okay. I introduced myself to the firstborn and met Ereshki, who was not immediately inclined like me. They threatened me with spears, but I was able to persuade them that I was on a righteous mission to defeat unnatural magics. They told me about the Shadowfen of Fallen Shadow, which should hide the source of this magic. I spent some time with them learning a bit about them before embarking on my journey into the Shadowfen. I soon found an ancient monument of some kind that suggests that this swamp must have previously meant something to those ancient peoples. However, there is a power still there, and it doesn't like me. It sent me shooting backward, fire in my mind, just for touching it. All right. So, things can go from going well to going poorly just that fast. So I think I'm not going to continue to poke the danger monument, but instead I'm going to try to let's see. I want to try to assess a situation, make preparations, or attempt to gain leverage. Now that like I've been knocked back a little bit, I need to kind of try to say, okay, where am I going next? I can't just wander around in this marsh. I need to figure out what I'm doing next. And so I'm not going to be dissuaded from my mission just because there's a big piece of rock that doesn't like me. So I'm just summoning up my courage to persevere, and I'm going to roll plus heart. All right, so with a 9 against a 9 and a 2, I got a weak hit. So on a weak hit, I gain +1 momentum, which is, better than nothing. But I find almost immediately as I start heading into the swamp again that it's just like, oh, this place is really awful. So I'm going to try to make it a little further into the depths here. Delve the depths. And I'm once again proceeding with observation, intuition, or expertise. Okay, so I got a 5 against a 6 and a 3, which is another weak hit. So on a weak hit with Delve the Depths, I roll on the table here. So this table is going to be, there's columns for edge, shadow, or wits. So I'm rolling with wits. So I roll a D100. Whoops. Okay, and I got a 99. Okay. Okay, so with wits on a 99, take both mark progress and find an opportunity. Okay, that's pretty great. Could have been bad, but hey, that's another useful thing here. So I'm going to mark progress on my delve. So that's another 2 boxes to fill here. And I'm going to get to find another opportunity. Okay, find an opportunity. So on this find an opportunity, I'm going to roll the oracle. And 80. This area provides an opportunity to scavenge, forage, or hunt. Excellent. And so one of the things that I can do here is take action now, and so and get a +1, and just like I did before. But so this is a bit of a safer thing. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity to resupply. Perhaps I find a little area where there's the ground is a little more solid and there's like rabbits or something like that. I feel like that seems fun. Okay, so my move that I want here is resupply. And I'm rolling plus wits for that, but I get a +1 for my find an opportunity. Okay, but one of the challenge dice, one of them was a 10, so a 5 against a 2 and a 10 is still not a great roll. That's another weak hit. But I can take up to 2 supply and suffer -1 momentum for each. And technically it was a hit, so I do get my +1 momentum. But my supply is actually okay. You know what? I didn't even probably really need to resupply. But you know what? I got the +1 momentum. I think I'll just leave it with that. All right, so let's continue to try to push through, make it further into this strange, awful, corrupted swamp. All right. Oh no. Okay, so I got a 5 against a, so this is a miss, and certainly can't cancel anything with my +3 momentum against a 10 and a 7. So on a miss, reveal a danger. Yikes. Okay, so let's roll the reveal a danger. All right, when you encounter a risky situation within a site, envision the danger or roll on the following table. Let's roll. All right. Okay, so with a 44, it wants me to do a roll on the domain card. And so if we go back over to the site menu, now I've got themes and domains. So the domain card is the Shadowfen. So I'm going to, let's see. Oh, I see. So a 44 is on the dangers of the domain card. And in this, a hidden Quagmire. Okay, okay. All right, so a hidden Quagmire, is that like a trap? Or just something to face danger with? Hang on, I'm going to look. I know there's traps. Um, you know what? I think I find that I suddenly have the mud here is not just sticky, but it's deeper, and I feel myself getting sucked deeper and deeper in, and so I think I need to do the face danger move in order to push through it. So facing danger, um, charm, loyalty, or courage would certainly like to do that, but I think in this case, trying to pull myself out of out of this quagmire, like with just mud, I think that's just going to take like strength to just force my way through. So I think although my heart is better than my iron, it's harder to justify why courage would let me pull myself out of a mud. So let's do a plus iron roll, which is only a +2 for me compared to +3. So, well, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay. So we got a miss on that. So I tried to just pull my way out of this deep, sticky mud, but on a miss, I fail or my progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events, and I pay the price. So let's roll the oracle to see what the additional price is. So I'm still stuck in the quagmire for the moment, and I haven't gotten out yet. But now something else is bad. Pay the price. A new danger or foe is revealed. Okay. Well, I think what makes perfect sense is I'm stuck in the mud, and now something has come out. Like there's a creature here that's been attracted, or maybe there's even something in the mud with me. There we go. That's fun. Okay, I think that seems like a perfect opportunity to let's see. Let's roll. Let's do a roll to see what sort of a thing has come out. I'm going to do 1d100. 90. Okay, so a 90 would be an uncommon thing of a blank, something that we've got a blank for here. And because it's a little more uncommon and we're a little ways in, let's allow it to be a dangerous thing. So let's make a new dangerous monstrosity here. Whoops, shoot, no, that should be still 3. Let's do a new dangerous monstrosity, and this is going to be dangerous level. Okay, it is a small, hound-sized hybrid. Oh, I gotta roll twice more for primary form. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, it is a hound-sized hybrid of crustaceans and humanoids with fangs and rows of sharp teeth and echolocation. They're crab people! Crab people! Or lobstrosities, like from the Drawing of the Three, the Dark Tower series. Oh my god. Oh god. Okay, that's horrifying. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and call it a lobstrosity. And not only that, but I have to now fight one. So let's add a dangerous lobstrosity. And this is tricky because I'm starting already also stuck in the mud, which certainly is not going to help. It's going to prevent me from trying to run away or anything right now. So I think now that it's coming in, combat is in play. But I'm going to be having trouble here. So, okay. I think we got to go ahead and enter the fray first. So enter the fray, and we're going to, I've entered into combat and I set the rank of my foe, and it's a dangerous foe, which means if it hits me, it does 2 harm to me, and if I hit it, I do 2 harm to it per harm, right? So my sword does 2 harm, so each one of those harms does 2 boxes, so 1 hit would be 4 boxes. That way, yeah, okay, and then so roll to determine who's in control. And so if I'm facing off against my foe, then I would roll with heart, or if I'm ambushed, roll plus wits. I think ambushed has to be right, because I would face off against my foe, except I'm stuck in this mud. So I'm going to roll plus wits. Okay. So, this is good. So I got an 8 against a 5 and a 5. And this brings into play a special rule, because the 2 challenge dice are the same. They're both 5s, which is an opportunity, meaning it presents something special for me as I enter the fray. So first of all, it's a strong hit, which means that I have initiative to start, which is great. So it's a strong hit. I take +2 momentum. Very nice. Definitely needed that. I have initiative, and because of this opportunity, I'm going to go ahead and take that to mean that I am able to, as I prepare to fight this thing, I am able to pull free from the mud. So the mud is still in the area. I have to be careful of it, but I'm able to free myself for the moment. That's what I'm going to use that opportunity to be. Okay, cool. So now, because I have the initiative, I'm going to strike. When I have initiative and attack in close quarters, I roll plus iron. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna charge in at this thing. Ha! That's what I say. Oh dear. Okay. So look, I got a 3 against a 3 and an 8, but I have enough initiative that I could burn it and turn the miss into a weak hit, which I think I will probably do. Because if it was a miss, my attack fails, I don't do my harm, and I would have to pay the price. And then the foe has initiative. Whereas if I do the weak hit, I still get to hurt it, but I just lose initiative, which is definitely better. And so that's one of the reasons having the momentum is so handy. So I'm going to burn that initiative, turn that into a weak hit, which means that I do my harm on it. Fight the lobstrosity. So my 2 harm with my iron blade does 2 boxes each, so 4 boxes. But now I do not have initiative anymore, and it's still coming at me. So this time, I can face danger. Like if I want to just focus on defending myself. You know what? That's what I'm going to do, is that I'm going to try to just focus on defending myself at first and not try to clash with it further. And I'm going to try to get on steadier ground out of this deep mud. So this time it's got initiative, but I'm trying to just back away and defend myself rather than come in to meet it. So that means that even if I get a strong hit, I'm not going to hurt it this time, but I can maybe get myself into a better position. And so in this case, with courage, I am going to, or let's see, the aggressive action, forceful defense, strength or endurance. You know what? I think in this context, it's not really it's more of a smart play. So I think wits makes sense, even though it's not my best stat. So let's roll face danger with wits. Okay. And so that I got a 5 against a 4 and an 8, so that's a weak hit. I succeed, but face a troublesome cost. So I either have to lose 1 momentum, 1 harm, 1 stress, or 1 supply. You know what? I think I'm going to say in the scramble to get out of that deep mud, I lose one of my water skins, like it falls off of my pack and just sinks into the mud, where it looks to be beyond recovering. It probably gets, or you know what? Maybe the lobstrosity slashes at me and puts a big hole in it. So I'm able to get out and be a little bit free of that deeper mud, but I didn't ultimately gain initiative. I'm just in a slightly steadier position in the fiction. And so now I'm going to go ahead and I guess I'll clash this time. I'll try to just, go in and try to hit it and do what I can. I'm charging at it with courage here. Or no, clash has to be iron, excuse me. So let's go ahead and roll iron. Okay. No special modifier. Oh God. Okay, yeah. It's not going great right now. So on a miss, I am outmatched and must pay the price. So I still don't have initiative. Let's see. And I don't do harm. And I have to pay the price. So it's going to do 2 harm to me, which gets me down to +1. And I have to endure harm. Hang on. Oh wait, no. I have to pay the price. So before I do that, let's do the pay the price roll. And so the most obvious could be that it just slashes at me and I take the harm. And you know what? I'm going to just do that. That's what made sense to me. Like, so I try to strike at it and it just deflects my blade with its chitinous exoskeleton and then jabs at me with its big old claw. So I take 2 harm and I'm down to +1, which is not optimal. So I have to do the endure harm move. There it is. So when I face physical damage, I'm rolling plus health or plus iron, and now my iron is higher, so I'm going to roll that. And alright, and that's a weak hit, which means nothing else happens. It's just like, okay, I've taken that hit, and it's definitely not great for me. But I think that in this context, I'm going to once again face danger to try to put some distance between it and me, and maybe even just leave it behind in that area and hope that it doesn't follow. Yeah, I think that's better for now. That's the smart play for me right now. I don't want to risk I can't let it hit me like that again. So this face danger is an attempt to just escape right now, escape this immediate area and try to leave it enough behind that I lose it. So in this case, I'm gonna give myself the benefit of saying that my loyalty is I can't let myself be defeated by this thing because I have an important mission to complete. And so I'm going to roll heart and to say, like, as much as there's a part of me that wants to kill this thing, I have to place my ability to complete my mission as a higher priority. So I'm facing danger with heart. All right. Whew. Okay. Strong hit. So I got an 8 against a 6 and a 3. So on a strong hit, I take +1 momentum, get me to a +3, which is nice, and I am successful at escaping this lobstrosity, which I leave behind in that awful quagmire. So yeah, let's go ahead and remove that one for now. This yeah, so that didn't go great for me, and I'm actually pretty hurt now. So I think now that I've moved forward a little bit, I need to take a moment and try to heal myself. So, I having gotten out of that deep mud, lost one of my water skins, some of my supply, and managed to just run away from this thing, which fortunately can't keep up with my longer legs, this little tiny thing, and so I flee, and I'm just deeper into this swamp, and maybe there's started to be some like taller cypress type trees, and so it's a little bit dark around here, but I've found a place that, at least for the moment, I can maybe take some time and try to put some herbs on my wound and clean it out so that I'm not got this infected, corrupted mud in it. So I'm trying to treat my own injuries, so I have to roll either wits or iron, whichever is lower, but it's the same for me. So I'm rolling wits, and once again, because of my herbalist, I can automatically add 2 to the roll, or I can gain one additional benefit if I'm successful. But I think in this context, I can't afford to not be successful right now. So I'm going to go ahead and do wits and take that +2 modifier. Okay, and it's only a weak hit. So what that means is I can still take my +2 health, gets me back to 3, but I have to suffer either -1 supply or -1 momentum. My momentum's still only 3, so I think I'll let my supply get back down to 2 for that. And yeah, that could be better. In fact, I think I'm actually going to. You know what? I'm gonna try to persevere and get a little further in. So I'm going to continue delving the depths. All right. Proceeding with wits. All right. So I got a 5 against a 1 and a 7. That's a weak hit. So once again, I'm rolling on this table. 34. So a 34 in wits is I mark progress, but I also reveal a danger. Okay, so on my site, I'm going to go ahead and mark another 2 boxes here. So that's 6 out of 10 now. I'm making progress. I'm doing okay. You know, got a ways to go still, especially since I have to reveal another danger now. Let's see. Reveal a danger. You encounter a hostile denizen. Okay. So, once again, we're going to roll to see what this hostile denizen is. Okay, 84 is another blank. You know, we've got another blank there. And I feel like it's possible that this would be another thing that's going to be dangerous. So let's actually take a real quick look to see if... So incidentally, part of how I'm deciding how dangerous it would be, one of the things that the book has as a guidance is that if we're saying that the overall site is a dangerous site, then like sort of the middle progress level is going to be of that difficulty level. The early part would be like easier, and then the later part could be higher. So since we're kind of right in the stretch of it, a dangerous one feels like the right call there. So looking at what some of these other things could be, there's a thing called a bog rot. Long ago, this is mummified flesh, shambling gait, rise to seek out the living and consign another to death in their place, emerge from the muddy earth. That's perfect, right? That's got it. Yeah, we're definitely doing that, right? Bog rot. Okay, so so let's add a new. We just got out of a fight, but funny how that happens when we're exploring a dungeon. Okay, so this is a dangerous one. All right. So now we're going to enter the fray as this strange humanoid decayed thing emerges up out of the slime and starts lurching towards me, reaching out with its grasping bony fingers. Yikes! Ah! Let's enter the fray. This time, though, I will not be dissuaded. I'm going to face this thing down. I'm not going to run away again like I did from the monstrosity when it ambushed me in the mud. I'm facing it down, so I'm rolling with heart. Okay, I only got a weak hit, so that means that I can either take +2 momentum to bolster my position, or I can take and start with initiative. You know what? I'm gonna take that momentum, and I think, yeah. So I'm taking momentum, bringing that up to 5, and so it has initiative now, and I'm going to try to face danger for a bit to try to evade it and get a bit of more of a sense of how it moves before I take it on in more. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm actually going to. Yeah, I'm going to assess it and try to see, because there's a tendency to try to make everything be my best stat, right? But that doesn't always work. What I just described really sounds more like a wits thing, so let's do that. All right, so I'm trying to back off, let it come towards me a little bit, move a little bit, get a sense of what its capabilities are. Okay, great. So I got a 7 against a 4 and a 3, which means a strong hit. On a strong hit, I'm successful. I'm going to take another +1 momentum. Excellent. And now I have initiative. So fortunately, now I've been able to gain a little bit more momentum. I have a little bit more of a sense of this thing. Now I'm going to go into strike. So, and now I'm rolling with iron because I have initiative and an attack in close quarters. Okay, so it's a 5 against a 5 and an 8, which would be a miss. But I now have enough momentum to turn it into a weak hit. And so not only would that mean, so inflict harm and lose initiative would be a weak hit, as opposed to attack fails and pay the price. So definitely going to do that. But also, my Swordmaster talent says when I strike or clash and burn momentum to improve your result, you inflict another 2 harm. And if the fight continues, add another +1 on your next move. So what that means is that I'm going to do my 2 harm, which would be 4 boxes. But then I'm going to do an additional 4. So I get it up to 8 boxes right away, which is great. So I stride in there, and it is desperate. Like it turns out to be stronger than I expected, and so my strike, you know, it almost gets me off balance. But fortunately, I had steadied myself enough, and I have enough skill in my sword to manage to do extra damage to it, even as it has got me backing up away from it again now. So I don't have initiative, but I have a +1 on my next roll against it. And so I think I want to avoid trying to take damage from it at all if I can. And because I've got, so like my choices here, right? Like I could clash, which would mean I would do more harm to it, but I would take harm myself, be very likely to in any case. Whereas if I face danger again, yeah, you know what? I think in this case, I'm going to face danger by not retreating from it. I'm not trying to strike back and leave myself open, but I'm going to just face it down and just try to hold off of its assault without letting it push me back into uncertain ground. So my move is going to be face danger again, and this time I think I can call that with courage. So that's with heart and an additional +1 because of my my Swordmaster move, which is cool because it's actually like one of the first times I've ever been able to actually use it. Oh no, okay, so that's still only a weak hit, which means that I don't have initiative, which means I need initiative in order to be able to finish the fight. But with a weak hit on this face danger, I succeed, but I face a troublesome cost. Either I'm delayed, I could suffer. Oh, you know what? I also should have burned my momentum from earlier, so I'm down to +2. So I could either lose 1 momentum. I don't really want to do that. I've already just got it down to the reset. I'm tired or hurt, or I'm dispirited or afraid. You know what? I think that's what I'll do. Is my spirit's pretty high right now. Let's say what happens is that you know, as I try to just face it down, and it just gets closer and closer, and I sense this undead, evil, tainted magic in it. There's a part of my resolve that just starts to, oh my God, it's like, this is a very scary thing. So I'm only taking 1 stress, rather than, actually, hang on. Yeah, okay, because it is just one. I was just trying to make sure it wasn't something that would need to, I would do 2 because it was dangerous. But in this case, no. So I take my spirit down to 4, and I have to do the endure stress roll. And so when you face mental shock or despair, suffer -spirit, equal to the foe's rank or as appropriate to the situation. Actually, you know what? It should be 2 because it does its harm, which for this thing it does 2. So it's just, yeah, so I take it down 2, and then I roll either spirit or heart, whichever is higher. Right now they would be the same. So I'm going to roll my heart, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, it's another weak hit, so basically no change. So I managed to hold this thing off and prevent it from harming me physically, but I just get that much a closer look at how evil this and deadly this thing is. And so I decide, you know what, I need to take, you know what, I need to just, you know, I like, the temptation is to just do that move again, but no, I think that makes me maybe panic a little bit and feel like I just need to just take this thing down. So I'm going to go to clash with it. Okay, and so that's with iron because I'm using my sword. Okay, it's another weak hit. So on a weak hit with clash, I inflict my harm. So on it, I'm going to go ahead and fill its box. But I need initiative to finish the fight because this thing just keeps coming. And so, but also I pay the price. So pay the price, like one obvious thing could be that it just continues to to try to hurt me. So that could be one thing. But let's roll the oracle to see if something else happens. Oh God, a new danger or foe is revealed. Oh boy. Okay. This is fine. Yeah. All right. Let's roll another denizen. 41. Okay, that would be the tail spider thing that starts creeping out. Fortunately, that one is just troublesome by comparison, so could have been worse. Tail spider. So as I am trying to face down this bog rot thing, and I keep slashing at it, and I keep doing damage to it, but it just won't go down. Now, all of a sudden, attracted by the sounds of combat, this gigantic spider with his enormous tail above it is coming out of the woods, out of the cypresses at me. And I'm already in the fray, so I don't do that again. But in this case, I still don't have initiative, but I think I'm going to, yeah, let's see. I am going to face danger with heart to basically just try to, make a lot of noise and wave my sword around, ideally to see if I can, intimidate the spider a little bit into not coming right at me. All right. So I'm rolling that with heart. Okay, so that's a weak hit, which means I still don't get initiative. And then this is what just happened too. So I succeed. So I get the spider to back off, but face a troublesome cost. Okay, so what I was trying to scare the spider away, right? That's what I just said. So I think I scare the spider away, but perhaps I leave myself open to the bog rot, and it's coming at me some more. Um, and so tired or hurt. Yeah, you know what? Okay, yeah, that's bad. Um, yeah. Um, wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. This is not great. It's not great. Um, you know what? How about this? Let's do a quick oracle roll to say whether it is harm or stress, like whether I'm just starting to become overcome by the tainted evil of this place, or whether it just like slashes at me. So we'll say slashing at me seems maybe more likely. So we'll say 26 or higher is slashing for harm, and lower is the magic is making me stressed. Okay, yeah. So I scared the spider away, which I will get rid of here. um, and the but but unfortunately, it's going to do its harm to me, which gets me down to +1 again. Not great. And I do the endure harm move. So I roll either health or iron. Iron is higher right now, so another weak hit. So on a weak hit, like I press on. So I'm pretty hurt now. This is not good at all. I'm gonna see, because if clashing at it, I can't risk it just continuing to hit me and not being able to finish the move. So I think once again I've got to try to just face danger and just try to get myself into a more advantageous position where I can actually just like sever its head instead of just slashing at its limbs, which doesn't do any good for me right now. Okay, so once again, I've got to swallow I've got to use my bravery to keep from panicking and just turning my back on this thing and running. Wow. Boy, I just cannot catch a break here. That's another weak hit for this face danger. Succeed at a troublesome cost. You know what? Yeah, so let's say it does the stress this time. So I'm going to take another stress and endure the stress move. And so I'm rolling with heart. Oh, boy, for another weak hit. And so I just can't, I'm not, I just, this thing is just keeps coming. I can't get initiative. That's one of the things, is that like I could run again, face danger and try to escape again, but I can't finish this thing off without getting initiative. And so that's what I keep trying to do. I'm having to muster all of my courage now to not run, because I want to destroy this thing. So once again, I'm trying to face it down, not panic and flee, and to just try to get it where I can finish it off. Because it's like its progress track is full. I just need initiative. All right. Freak. Okay, yeah, so once again, that's a weak hit. So I'm gonna lose the supply there as it manages to You know, like it tears one of the leather straps on one of my packs as I try to back away from it. And I'm really getting depleted here. This place is taking a lot out of me. Okay, so but once again, like, you know, I'm determined. I'm gonna do this. So I will not let you defeat me, bog rot. Finally, okay. I will not let you defeat me, Bogrot. And finally, I shout at it, and the force of my will finally gives me the strength to push it back, and it staggers a little bit, enough for me to try to make my finishing blow. So now that I have initiative from getting a strong hit, well, so first of all, face danger, strong hit, you're successful, and take +1 momentum. All right? Building that momentum back up because you need it. And now I'm going to try to end the fight, which again, I have 10 on my progress. You know, I've filled it up, but still, if either of the challenge dice are also roll a 10, I could still be in a bad spot. So let's do the move though. End the fight. Oops, I had it up. End the fight. Roll. Got 10. Against a 1 and a 9, a strong hit. So on a strong hit, the foe is no longer in the fight. They are killed. And I take the head off of this bog rot, and finally, I think the whole thing just dissolves into sludge with a decayed skeleton just kind of floating, half submerged in the rot. And I breathe out a deep sigh of relief. That was really awful. I am depleted in every sense. I need to heal myself. I need to try to recover my stress. I think I need to try to resupply and heal so here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to try to heal myself. Then I'm going to, well, and we'll see how it goes, but like ideally, heal myself, resupply, make camp. This is the goal here. And rest for a little bit. So I'm healing myself, and I have to roll wits. And I'm going to give myself a +2 to my roll, because I definitely don't want to end up hurting myself by accident in this place. So rolling wits, the +2. Okay, that's a strong hit. An 8 against a 2 and a 6. And it's a good thing that I did my +2 because it would have been a weak hit otherwise. But a strong hit. Care is helpful. I wasn't wounded, so I don't need to clear that, but I can take up to 2 health. So good. Back up to 3. Improvement. Okay. So now that I'm not bleeding anymore, I'm still breathing really hard from the stress of all of that and losing my stuff, and like this is a really dangerous place, and I'm not used to dealing with this kind of ancient horror. So I'm going to try to see if there's anything, like maybe just recover some of my lost supplies, or find if there's anything else here that like maybe looks non-poisonous. We'll see. So I'm rolling plus wits to see if I can find anything useful here. Oh dear. So that's a miss. I find nothing helpful, and I need to pay the price. So let's roll that oracle. Pay the price. Oh God. So I got a 2, which means roll again and apply that result, but make it worse. Okay. So I'm rolling again, but it'll be whatever it comes up with. It's even worse. A surprising development complicates your quest. Oh, man. But worse, right? Gosh. Oh, man. Okay. I think what that means, it's bad, right? This is not good. I think what happens is that in my attempt to search around and forage for a little bit, okay, gosh, I have to decide now because I have two ideas of how it could be worse. Like what complicates it and makes it worse, but which is more interesting. So my quest here in this site, right, is to discover the source of the ancient evil. So first of all, I destroyed this thing so I can get rid of that. The site is my objective is to discover the source of the fell magic, right? So the ways that that could be complicated in a worse way is it could turn out to be that it's not here, or it could be that there's more than one source, or it could just be that this place goes on so much further than I expected. Gosh. So, boy, I don't like any of those. Those are all bad. You know what? I'm not going to do it to make the site worse, because I kind of want to get through the process of trying to complete one of these delve sites. So, what I want to find here is maybe, oh, gosh, that's another thing that could complicate it and make it worse, is, oh man, I've got too many great ideas. I'm too good at thinking about horrible things that could happen to me. Because what just occurred to me is so much of this is all about my promise to Katya to try to help her. What if she showed up, but she's corrupted now? Like, oh. Gosh. Gosh. Oh no, I don't like that at all. You know what? That one almost, like, that one is the most painful emotionally, but not mechanically. So I'm gonna have that be what happens. Okay. By the way, let's update my adventure journal because we've had a fair amount of things happen here. Okay. Okay. Where were we? Where were we? I think this was just, yeah. So, the Quagmire was the next thing after this. I pushed on deeper into the marsh only to find a spot where it was deeper than I expected, when I found myself stuck in a sticky quagmire and ambushed by some horrible lobstrosity creature. It got in some painful hits on me before I fled. Deeper, further still into the swamp. I bandaged myself up, and then soon after, and made a bit more progress, only to be assaulted by a sodden, muddy, undead thing called a bog rot that slashed at me with bony fingers and tried to penetrate my spirit with fell magic. In the meantime, like in the middle of the fight, a strange giant spider was attracted by the sounds of combat, but I was able to frighten it away before finally dispatching the bogrot, leaving me hurting, panicked, and depleted. Once again, I applied some herbal poultices, but when I started looking around, for supplies, I saw, to my horror, my friend Katya, to whom I had sworn an iron vow to save, now lurching toward me with nothing behind her eyes. Oh God, that's super bad. So, I think that because of my vow, I'm certainly not going to try to kill Katya or even destroy her. I think I face danger just to again flee from her is the only move I can make here that makes any kind of sense. I've just got to get away. So, out of loyalty, to her, I cannot hurt her. I need to escape. So I'm going to roll my face danger with heart. Okay. Whew, a weak hit. Okay, so on a weak hit, I succeed, but a troublesome cost. I don't have a lot of, delayed, lose advantage or face a new danger, tired or hurt. You know what, I think, I'll go ahead and lose one momentum. It's already pretty low. I need that momentum, but I had to get away. And so I lose her in the swamp somewhere, knowing that after getting separated from her in Elfbrook, like somehow, did she follow me here? Is there any of her left inside? I don't know. But all the more I have to find out. I have to find what's going on in this place. I have to further my quest. So I think, I wanted to make camp and try to replenish myself, but I think I need to make more progress first. So I think I have to delve the depths, try to get further in before I can afford to take some rest. Otherwise, she'll just catch up to me again. All right, so let's roll with wits and try to make more progress in this place. Okay, that's another weak hit. So, that's the nature of this system, is you got to try to get that momentum, because otherwise the average tends to be weak hits. But so now I'm going to roll that table for the weak hit result. And, some of those are not bad at all. So let's see. 80 for the wits table. Choose one. I can either mark progress or find an opportunity. Finding the opportunity that first time turned out to not be as great. So I can either mark progress or find an opportunity. You know what? I want to find an opportunity. Like, I want to make progress, but like, I need something. You know what? Actually, yeah. I'm gonna find an opportunity. Um, so where's the find an opportunity? There we go. Let's roll that find an opportunity table. Okay, 74. I get the drop on a denizen. And so I can gain insight or prepare and take +1 momentum. You know what I'm going to do? I think that I will roll to see what the denizen is, but I have the drop on them, which means that I think I'm going to probably, at this point, try to face danger to sneak on by rather than fight. And I'll get a +1 to that if I do it. So let's find out what the denizen is. Uh, 4, so it'd be one of these segmented snakes. You know what? Those are only troublesome. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I could take it out and feel a little better about myself. Maybe it would be some good eating instead of just fleeing again. Because if I try to sneak by it, that's probably a shadow move, which is not great. Or I could enter the fray with a +1. Yeah, my bravery, my courage. I'm gonna enter the fray with a +1. So heart +1. Because this thing, I feel like I can take it. Okay, so still a weak hit, but I can bolster my position to gain +2 momentum, which would be good. Prepare to act and take initiative. You know what? I need that momentum. Okay, so I am going to, so I have charged in and startled it and gotten myself in a good position for some combat here. But now I'm going to clash with it because this thing doesn't hit quite as hard. So I'm going to go in and clash with iron. All right, nice. Okay, so I would have to burn momentum for a strong hit. Okay, so if I rolled a weak hit with a 3 against a 3 and a 1. So if a weak hit, I'll do my harm, but then I'll have to pay the price, and I still don't have initiative. But if I burn it, I can do strong momentum. I can do strong hit. You know what? And I would just lose 2 momentum from +4 down to +2. So let's do it, because I also have my Swordmaster. So if I burn it, I do extra damage. Yeah, I might be able to just finish this thing. So that would be great. So I burn the momentum. It becomes a strong hit. So on a strong hit with the clash, I inflict my harm, and then I choose either I get another +1 momentum, or I find an opening and do an additional +1 harm. But I'm already going to be doing 4 harm, because 2 for my Iron Blade, and then 2 more because I burned momentum with my Swordmaster. So 4 harm on a troublesome, I need to add my segmented snake. Yeah, and so because it's troublesome, if I do 4, A troublesome one fills up 3 boxes for each harm, so I will fill it all the way up. Just from that damage. So I burned the momentum to get the strong hit with Clash. Okay. And because I did that, I did 4 total harm, fills it up. I have the initiative, and I either do 1 more harm, which I don't need to do, or take 1 momentum. I'll do that. And I have initiative, so I'm going to try to finish the. So I'm going to try to finish the fight. So it's a weak hit, finishing the fight. So let's see. What does that mean? Ending the fight. It's a weak hit. On a weak hit, I defeat the thing, but it's either worse than I thought and I have to endure harm, or I'm overcome and have to endure stress, or a new danger appears, or I lose something, or there's some other price, an objective pays for it, others won't forget. You know what, I think in this context what just makes the most sense is that I did my fancy move, but it managed to get in a little bit of a slash against me, so I'm gonna just take harm. It's troublesome, so I'll only take 1, but I do the endure harm move. And so I'm rolling health or iron. They're both the same right now. And that's a strong hit. Nice. So on a strong hit, if my health is greater than 0, and it is, I can gain health back. I can gain that health back in exchange for 1 momentum. Or I can embrace the pain and take 1 momentum. Gosh, which do I need more of right now? You know what? I'm going to take that momentum, because now that I have killed this segmented snake and gotten a little ways further in, well, actually, hang out, because I delved the depths, and it was the weak hit, so I found the opportunity instead of marking progress, which kind of means that I got to fight a snake for nothing when I could have made progress. Oh well, yeah. So I feel like I still need to delve deeper before I can stop. Otherwise, Katya will catch up with me. All right. So I feel like I'm in a very dangerous situation, but gotta respect the fiction and keep going. I can't let Katya catch up with me. So delve the depths. Once again, it's a weak hit that I can't fix with the momentum. So let's roll that oracle table again. A 99. Okay, again. So that's a take both, mark progress and find an opportunity. Great. Okay, so mark progress again, and that puts us at 8. 8 of 10, which is good. We're making progress there, and we're going to reveal an opportunity, find an opportunity. Some of these find an opportunities, though, like don't seem so much like opportunities as, like, let's see. Oh, like one of the things here too is that it says if you are making this move as a result of a strong hit. Okay, where it's not a strong hit though on Delve the Depths. I can pick if it's a strong hit, but it's not. So I'm going to just roll it. A clue offers insight or direction. Okay. So I don't know that necessarily means that we're going to take action right now. So I'm going to just take another momentum. And let's figure out what clue is this. Well, we made progress. So maybe what I see, yeah, okay, yeah, and what I see, I think, is a structure in the distance that looks like it might be more of these ancient people's ruins, and looks like, gosh, if I were going to put a source of fell magic somewhere, I think it would be there. Let's say that I found a spot. It's a little bit, I put some distance between myself and Katya. Let's maybe take a moment, see if I can get a little bit of rest before pushing further in there. But I also need to resupply, because if I want to make camp, I'm rolling based on my supply, which right now is only +1, so that would be pretty risky right now. So let's see if I can forage just a little bit. Roll plus wits here to try to see if I can get some stuff. So okay, so it's a weak hit, or I could burn momentum to make it a strong hit. So in this case, if it was a strong hit, I would burn the momentum and lose 3 momentum in order to gain +2 supply, which is good. Or if it's a weak hit, then I could take up to 2 supply, but suffer a -1 momentum for each. So ultimately, I can get, if I don't burn the momentum, in this case, this is an example of where I can actually get the same for only the 2 momentum cost instead of 3 if I don't burn it. So I think I'll do that. And I also could just do 1, but I want that supply now. So fortunately, it slows me down a little bit, but I find what feel like a couple of plants that I recognize that don't look too turned, or maybe like a frog that seems healthy enough, and figure out I can I find also just a spot that looks like I could set up a nice secure little area that would let me rest for a little bit. So now with a supply of +3, I'm going to try to make camp and try to recover myself just a little bit. So I'm rolling with supply. Okay, a weak hit. And so on a weak hit, I have to choose one. I either can take +1 health. I can subtract 1 supply and take another 1 health, which would be worse if I'm only doing 1. I can take +1 spirit, which I do need some spirit. I can take +1 momentum, or I can add +1 to my next roll. Like, none of those are as good as I would have liked. You know what? I need to get my you know what? I feel like I need to bolster my spirit a little bit if I'm getting close to the source of this thing. So I'm gonna relax and get my spirit back up. Once again, I just take a moment and try to focus on, like, these are the things that are important to me and why I need to be here in this awful place. And I'm doing this for the right reasons. And there are people who are counting on me, including Katya, who I'm going to save. So I managed to bolster my spirits a little bit, rest up just a little bit before furthering on and trying to, explore this last remaining, follow that clue. So with that clue, I'm going to, delve the depths, heading in that direction. If I make progress this time, it'll fill the track, and give me, because right now I'm at 8. So I could try to complete it now, but it's a little riskier. It's more certain if I do 1 more delve the depths. I risk another trouble, but you know what? I want to do this. So I'm going to delve the depths again with wits, approaching this strange structure carefully. Whew. All right. It's a miss. So I have to reveal the danger, which makes sense. I'm getting closer to the trouble spot right here. So let's reveal the danger. Roll an oracle. Danger. Oh, God. 98. So roll twice more on this table. Both results occur. If they are the same result, make it worse. Oh, God. Okay. So let's roll twice more. All right. I encounter a hostile denizen, and then also the other one is check the theme card. So the theme card, for a result of 30, the theme danger of 30 is dread harbingers of a greater magic. Okay, okay. All right, so I encounter a hostile denizen. Let's, yeah, okay, so let's roll to see who our denizen is. Um, 12. Okay, so it's another segmented snake. Okay, that's not so bad. But I think, so, well, first of all, let me, I'll clear this one and just use the same track from before. So I encounter a snake, and I'm going to have to deal with that. But I think what I see also is that there is some kind of strange magical light activity flittering around. There's something happening right now up at that place. And so once I deal with this snake, you know, what I find there is something active and not just, you know, an ancient abandoned ruin. We'll see what that is in a moment. But first, I've got to deal with this snake. So I'm going to enter the fray with the snake. I killed one of these snakes already. It's no problem. It's no problem. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to roll plus heart. I'm going to kill this snake. Oh yeah. So an 8 against 2 and a 2. So not only is it a strong hit, but it's an opportunity. That's great. So on a strong hit, I take plus 2 momentum. Excellent. And I have initiative. Okay, so I have initiative, which means I can do strike. If I did, you know what? Actually, when I have initiative, I can also secure an advantage. So I think maybe with that, when you assess a situation, make preparations, or attempt to gain leverage, envision your action and then roll. Okay, so I think, yeah, what I'm gonna do because with that initiative is I'm gonna just take a moment and I'm going to not rush into this. I am preparing to go in and face an ancient evil, and this snake is just one of its minions, but I can't let it, I can't let my lack of respect for it get myself hurt. And so what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I've got this fight with the snake under control while maintaining awareness of that thing up there. And so I'm getting myself prepared, mentally prepared. So I'm going to roll heart to stay brave under all of this. Okay. Okay, and that's a weak hit on my secure an advantage, which technically means I lose initiative, but I do gain another plus 1 momentum. So I have a momentum of 6 now, which is not bad. Okay, so I think without my initiative, I'm going to clash with this snake. But yeah, I've got higher momentum now, so maybe a little better luck. So I'm rolling with iron against the snake. Okay, and that's another weak hit. So on a weak hit, I inflict my harm, which is just 2 harm because I'm not burning momentum now. So let's fill 4 boxes. Wait, no, 6 boxes because it's a troublesome. Okay, because 2 harm, 3 boxes each. But then I also have to pay the price. And so I'll roll the oracle for the pay the price here, even though the obvious, like the snake could have bit me. But let's roll the oracle because there's ancient film magic, harbingers of greater magic in the area. So let's see what this. It wastes resources. Okay, well, so yeah, I think I end up losing another one of my, like some of my pack spills open as I'm dashing around evading this thing's attack. So I lose 1 supply. Could be worse. Could be worse. I had more supply to give up than than some of the other things there. So once again, then I'm going to go in and clash with it. Try to finish this. I can't finish it off this time, but I can try to continue just hurting it as much as possible. So rolling with iron. Okay, that's another weak hit. So I'm going to fill its tracker, but I have to pay the price again. Okay, so let's pay the price and roll that oracle again. 83. A surprising development complicates your quest. Oh no. Katya has caught up again. Like I see her approaching in the distance again. Yeah, that sucks. Oh no. What's gonna happen? Like if oh no. Okay. All right. So I think I'm gonna face danger to once again try to put some distance, try to get to where I can finish off this snake, but without letting Katya be able to get around behind me. So that's probably a wits. No, I'm gonna let myself still do heart, because basically what I'm trying to do is just not let myself get panicked by this. All right, wow, gosh, lots of these weak hits. But and like that's almost one that I could have burned, but not quite. Okay, so face danger with a weak hit. I succeed, so I do get around to where she can't get behind me. And I'm kind of, and I wasn't able to, so I'm in a position where I can continue to fight the snake, but she's got, I've got the snake between us now. But I either lose 1 momentum, endure harm, endure stress, or 1 more supply. You know what? I'll give up more supply. I can spare it right now. What I do is I've got a flask of oh, you know what? I've just got like a skillet, like a cooking grill that I just I hurl at her to distract her from coming at me. Okay, so I'm gonna try to clash with this snake again. Let's see if I can't just manage to, get the initiative and finish it off. Okay. Wow, another weak hit. All right, so on a weak hit, I do my harm, but the harm doesn't even matter at this point. So I'm just paying the price again. You know what? I'm just realizing it really makes no sense to do the clash move if I can't do any more harm to it, because it's really all downside unless I get a strong hit. But other things, I could get a strong hit and get initiative without with less downside. Okay, so in any case, we're paying the price. 38 is. Current situation worsens. There's more people. There's more of the people from Elfbrook. I see that converging around from the distance. There's more of these zombies. Oh no, there's lots of them. Yikes! They followed me here or something. But maybe that means that I'm really onto something. But yeah. That's not good. So I think I'm going to continue to try to face danger and try to just sort of keep myself in a good position while looking for an opportunity to try to. Gosh, do I even need to how important is it to finish this snake? I think it's coming after me. Boy, because the thing is, I could just leave the snake behind and just run up and go, you know what, I need to, so I'm going to face danger to, you know what, I don't care about the snake, right? Like, the snake's not what's important. I'm going to face danger to get out of this current little circumstance and try to run up closer to whatever that big magic that's happening up there. So that's going to be the first face danger, is just to like try to like get over there. And so that's heart, because that's the real threat. That's where I'm going. Oh boy, God, I need more momentum so I can start canceling some of these weak hits and doing better here. But on a weak hit, I succeed, so I get away from the snake, but I face a troublesome cost. I think as I'm penetrating closer to this big magic thing, I'm just more scared of it. So I'm gonna lose one more spirit, and I'm gonna endure stress. Okay. Rolling either spirit or heart. Heart is currently higher. Okay, strong hit. Okay, good. Okay, good. So a strong hit means that I can either shake it off and I can sacrifice one momentum in order to bring the spirit back up, or I can take one momentum. And I think that's what I'll do, is I'll just say this is a scary place and it's messing me up, but I need to do this now. The mission is important. And so I'm pushing through how scared I am, even knowing that I feel like this is deepening the trauma inside me. But now I'm looking around, and let's see. So I'm now getting closer to this ancient ruined structure, and there's some sort of strange magical ritual happening here. Let's what is happening? Is it a ritual that can be disrupted? Is there a thing in the middle? Are there people there? Okay. Let's say then we'll ask the oracle, and we'll say, what are the three choices, right? Say it could be either there's a thing at the center of all this that I could maybe grab, like maybe it's this book, right? Like, and that getting the book like could maybe disrupt whatever's happening, like, and break it apart. Two would be if there is like an individual there who seems to be channeling everything and like you know, doing something that I would have to interfere with them. Or three would be that there's some sort of a powerful magic thing happening there without an obvious like focal point. So I'm going to say that it's you know, 1 to 33, 34 to 66, and so on, in that order. So let's roll 1d100. 86. Shoot, that means that there's a lot of magic there that it's not obvious what the issue is. So I just got a strong hit from the endure stress. I think I need to gather information to try to understand better what's happening here, because I can't immediately tell what's going on. Let's see. So I think let's see. I'm going to try to courage to secure an advantage, to try to get closer, to try to be able to better see what's happening. So I'm going to use heart to try to get in closer and understand better what's happening in this strange ritual. A miss? Oh God. Okay. So pay the price. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Well, let's roll that table. It causes a delay or puts you at a disadvantage. Okay. All right. I've got to. Okay. Here's what I'll say for that is that I'm trying to climb up these strange ruins to get to a place where I can see what's happening. Maybe up on this this ziggurat platform. But in my looking for a place, some of the zombies have gotten close enough to make a grab at me, and I have to face danger to try to get away from them again. So let's do heart for that. You know, to not just run away from all this with how hurt I am. Wow, another miss. Wow, okay. I fail or my progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events. Pay the price again. So let's pay the price again as I'm trying to get away from like these zombies. Pay the price. You are separated from something or someone. Well, I mean, separated from Katya and the zombies is kind of what I was trying to do, so I don't think it would be that. Maybe they pull my pack off of me. Like, yeah, okay. And I'm not away from them either. Like they're grabbing at me and they pull all the stuff away from me. Actually, you know what? I feel like this. So this automated sheet still works a little bit differently than I interpret the I interpret the rules. So my understanding was that in the rules, if you are at 0 and have to lose a supply, then you become so-called unprepared, and there are consequences to that. But I feel like, yeah, so like this unprepared, but I feel like what it actually, like, but what this does is it adds that as soon as you are at 0. But I feel like, yeah, I don't feel like that's right. So I'm untapping unprepared, but if I were to lose another supply at 0, then I'm unprepared. Yeah, I feel like that's what makes sense to me. I don't know. Like that, I feel like that's what the rules say. So I don't know about the automated sheet here, but that's how I'm going to rule it. I'm the GM in this solo mode RPG. All right, so I'm really hurting on supply now, and I still need to try to get away from them. So I'm going to try to, to face danger again. This is really bad. I'm in big trouble here. Oh shoot. Okay. So not only is this a miss, but it's a complication with 2 9s. So just like when there was the 2 dice matched, but on a strong hit, it was an opportunity, like something surprising and unexpected and helpful happens. This time it's worse. I think what happens this time is not only do I not get away from them, but Katya's there and they manage to restrain me. They've got me like grappled. Yeah, that's pretty bad. And they're dragging me towards this magic ritual thing. Oh God. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. And I still don't understand anything about what's happening. And I think part of what I will have be the complication here is that I have to face danger, but I can't use heart to do it because they've got me grabbed. So like the face danger in this context, like I literally have to like pull my way out with strength. I can't use heart. I have to use iron. So to try to get out of their grip. I mean, I've got high momentum, but just like with 2 9s, I can't beat that. All right, so I'm trying to break free. Okay. Finally a hit and an opportunity. All right. Okay, so I've broke out of their grip, but they're still surrounding me, and they had just been dragging me closer to this strange ritual site. And so what I'll say is, like, the opportunity is, like, I break free from them, but I'm still, like, but they brought me closer, and so maybe now I have an opportunity to see a bit more about what is actually going on here. And I'm going to try to gather information about what is this? Like, what is going on here? What can I do about it? Okay, so I'm rolling with wits. I don't have any particular modifier right now. Okay, great. Okay, great. So this is not only another strong hit with a 7 against 2 2s, but it's another opportunity. So on a strong hit with gather information, you discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or action you must take to make progress is made clear. Envision what you learn. Ask the oracle if unsure, and take +2 momentum. Okay, let's... okay, the path I must follow or action I must take to make progress is made clear. Okay, so let's ask the oracle between two choices. One is, we knew there was a book. Ancient evil source of fell magic could easily be this book that we were talking about, right? Like, that makes sense. That, let's say that's the most likely option, right? So let's say the most likely option is that the helpful and specific thing here is that there is a book open on a podium with, like, magic zooming out of it, and that maybe if I could just close it, it would do something, or like maybe if I could, like, do there's something I could do about it, like that. You know, if I could do something to the book, like, yeah. And then the less likely would be if, let's say, the gather information is that there'd be a creature of some kind there that seems to be the focal point. You know, this is kind of what we were establishing earlier. Like, I couldn't tell before, but let's go ahead and just roll that. So 26 to 100 is the book thing. 97. Okay, so yeah, it's the book. What I finally see now that they've brought me up closer is that there's this book that's open. There's all sorts of awful magic things swirling up out of it. And, you know, I want to, I want to try to stop what it's, or, you know what? I think that it might be too much to think that, like, just closing the book solves the problem. But if I could get the book, then maybe I could escape with it and, learn more about what needs to be done. Let's see. How about this? Okay, I think this is good. My progress through the site is at 8 of 10. 8 of 10. Which means that it's possible that I could clear it, right? Let me clear this snake. I don't need that to be there anymore. So it's possible that if I do my progress roll for that, I'll be successful. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to face danger to try to grab the book and close it. And then we will do a delve move to locate your objective. And that will tell us if we think the book is the true source or not. All right. Okay, so I've got to face danger, though, to try to get it. So, facing danger with courage, with iron, or with heart, rather. Okay. Fingers crossed, you guys. Okay. A strong hit. Nice. A 6 against 2 and a 4. Okay, so with face danger on a strong hit, I am successful. I take +1 momentum. Nice. Getting another, so I'm at +8. So face danger is now. I have managed to run up and grab the book and close it, and we'll see what was that the source of my. I've located my objective, and I'm at 8. Nice. It's a strong hit. Okay. All right. I think. Okay. So that's an 8. It's a strong hit. So what that means is a strong hit on locate your objective. Strong hit, you locate your objective and the situation favors you. Choose one. Make another move now and add +1 or take +1 momentum. Okay. So here's the question. We need to decide what that means, right? So I've completed my exploration of the site, and that means if I'm just retreating from it, there's another move that I can do to try to escape the depths. If I'm just trying to escape and not like have to fight things on my way out and all that. But I also have to think about like what's my quest here, right? Save Katya and rid the land of this curse. So I would say this certainly makes sense to me that this would be a milestone for that, right? So I'm going to mark progress on that, but that's still got a ways to go, right? This is too big a curse for it to be done. But I think what happens is when I close the book, okay. When I close the book, there is, gosh, I have to decide, right? Like, because I don't want to make it too good for myself and not respect the fiction of how difficult this needs to be. Because my quest in this site was just to discover the source of the fell magic. So I have achieved that objective. Doesn't mean that it's done. It means that I am sure this is the source. So let's say all that means is Katya is not better. The other zombies are not gone. They don't fall down. They are not recovered. But when I close the book, I feel like a shockwave ripple out, and I see all of the other, like all of the zombies sort of react and sort of like cringe back. And maybe just for a moment, I see Katya's eyes clear, and she looks at me with a pleading expression before the magic seems to take her back over again. And I take the book, and I know that I've discovered the source of the fell magic, and that it will take more work to figure out what I can do to end this curse, but I've made progress, and I've completed my exploration of the site, and so now I'm going to try to escape the depths. So now that I'm escaping the depths, when you flee or withdraw from the site, consider the situation and your approach. If you steel yourself against the horrors of this place, I'm going to have to push past Katya, zombie Katya, and all of these other zombie people that I'm trying to help right now. And I can't hurt them, but they're trying to hurt me, and I've got to push past. So I'm trying to push through all of them with heart, knowing this is all to help them. So I'm steeling myself against this. So rolling with heart. And oh wait, and in fact, actually, I maybe should have had another +1 on that. I'm just double checking because I did the locate your objective, and it was a strong hit. So I made them another move and +1, and like yeah, so I would have done that. And fortunately, it was a strong hit anyway with an opportunity. Gosh, what could the opportunity be? Oh, how about this? The opportunity is that on my way out, I have the opportunity to end that fight finish off that snake that I had hurt before. So let me I'll make the end the fight move against the snake with the the 10, the filled progress track. That lobstrosity that I had, finished off. Nice. Okay, so on a strong hit, I kill the snake on my way out. That's what that opportunity was. But okay, so escape the depths is an abstracted flight from this whole place, and so with a strong hit, I make my way safely out of the site, and I take +1 momentum, and so now I am fleeing out through the swamp. I know my way because I just came through, and everything had converged, so it was difficult for me to push past everything, but they were all like unsteady and stunned from me closing the book. And so I'm holding this evil thing, this source of fell magic, under one arm as I slog my way back through this awful toxic swamp. But I make my way back out, with the source of my, of the fell magic, the source of the fell magic achieved, and I made progress on my quest to save Katya and rid the land of this curse. And so maybe that's a good point to finish for tonight, although I'm going to take a moment here to update my adventure journal. But holy crap, that was a pretty awesome delve, in my opinion. I feel like this game really lends itself to cool storytelling, and I'm excited to continue this story. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and update this here. But like if you got lurkers in the chat, if you wanted to chime in on any questions or comments about the episode, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. But no worries. Otherwise, I'm just going to update this too. So, all right. So we left off on the journal here. We just saw Katya. So I fled from Katya and tried to put some distance between us so I could get some rest without her catching up to me. Let's see. I think that was where I fought the snake, right? Yeah, I think, I encountered a bizarre snake, enormous, with segmented armor, but I dispatched it easily enough, and then was able to rest for a moment and recover from the shock of seeing Katya. When I pressed on, I saw a strange ruin in the distance. But Katya, in her enthralled state, was hot on my heels. And worse, there were lots more zombies close behind. I pressed on towards the ruin, only to see another snake and some kind of awful magic occurring at the ruin when I injured the snake but couldn't finish it off before the zombies pressed in, and I fled toward the ruin, desperate to understand what was happening there and how I could stop it. I tried to get close enough, but they were on me. Katya and the others grabbed hold of me and started dragging me toward the central ritual. Before they could do whatever horrible deed they had in their ensorcelled minds. Ensorcelled, how do you spell that? Oh, 2 L's apparently. Before they could do whatever horrible deed they had in their ensorcelled minds, I fought my way free of them and saw an ancient magic tome open and swirling with strange lights and vapors. Stealing my courage, I surged forward and seized the book. Look, snapping it closed. When all the zombies suddenly reeled as though struck, I was certain that I had found the source of this magic. With the evil book in hand, I fled the Shadow Fen, pushing past pushing past the corrupted forms of those I had sworn to help. At least I managed to kill that snake on the way out. All right. That's pretty great. Well, I hope any of you watching, whether you watch me live on Twitch or whether you're checking out this VOD later on demand or even checking out a podcast version, I'm glad to have you, and definitely let me know if you have thoughts or feelings or questions about Ironsworn. I had a lot of fun with this. I'm probably going to play some more, so I'll leave it there for now, and I'll talk to you all later for what else I do on this channel, which is sometimes I run Dungeons and Dragons, sometimes I talk about movies and all sorts of stuff. So, see ya.